We want to see if we're gonna get some of our Pan-African folks to come up in the space as well tonight. I know you guys been seeing the actual the conflicts. Shout out to Ben Israel over there and YouTube land. I know you guys been seeing the actual comments, not the comments, but the actual news. What's going on with the actual coup over there in Niger, however you want to say it. I want to just say Niger. I just want to say I'm just gonna say Niger. I mean, I'm sorry, y'all, but you've been seeing what's going on in West Africa. The actual you know, the backing of the Western empires, France and Europe coming to the aid of a sitting president who's been they had a coup to overthrow him, and you had a bunch of different African groups coming together and trying to do things, and this is what it all leads up to, because you're having a lot of people in the news recently saying that they want to see Black Americans actually start to use their voice internationally and try to get things done. So yeah, I'm seeing more and more people saying that they'd like to see Black Americans step up and Black Americans lead the way as they did back in apartheid. Black Americans lead the way like they did for Haiti's president John Patrice Aristide. They're trying to get Black Americans to actually speak up and use the actual cachet they have to actually help this situation going on over there in Niger. So kind of interesting. And I know we're big on, especially in a lot of these spaces, we talk about Pan-Africanism. We got a lot of Pan-Africans here on Twitter and on social media and on YouTube. So I'm interested to see how many of them are actually trying to go over there and actually voice and try to do things as well, because it's definitely that a lot of these West African nations are led by puppets, and I guess you're getting some of the actual citizens over there that's actually tired of being dominated. The actual president that was ousted is actually a French and American puppet that they got up in office. And you got a lot of people saying, hey, enough is enough. But then you got a lot of people saying that Black Americans, we need your voice. We need you guys to step up. We need you to do what you always do. And, ring the bell, beat the horn for us. Help us, to get more international help. Help us to do this. Help us to do that. So I'm looking to see how many of the brothers on Twitter alone, because I know we had a slew of Pan-Africans here. I want to see what some of the Pan-Africans are talking about, how they're going to go ahead and help the people, because they're asking Black Americans to step up and do something, and asking Black Americans to help them. So I want to see what the Pan-Africans here on Twitter, on social media, on Facebook, the Pan-African organizations, how are they going about? How are they going to help? What are they planning on doing? I'm gonna read just a little bit because this is a long article, and I ain't trying to read all this article. But this is from the San Francisco Bay View. It's up in the Jumbotron. It says, Niger, West, and Central Africa's current war against neo-colonialism. As the NATO war rages on in Ukraine, the African nation of Niger just had a coup and overthrew the Western-backed president and his regime. The new government of Niger has announced that it has stopped shipments of gold and uranium to France, the colonial and neo-colonial master. And that's what it's all about right there. That's what it's all about. That's why the U.S. is coming up in here, because that gold and that uranium that France is getting. Don't forget that these former colonies of the French, these former French colonies, still pretty much supplying France with all kind of wealth, still keeping France afloat. All of France's gold reserves come from its colonies, like Niger, considering that France does not have one gold mine within its borders, and France depends on nuclear power for 70% of the country's energy needs, and 1/3 of that comes from the uranium. Claude Gatebuke is a survivor of the Rwandan genocide, a longtime correspondent to the San Francisco Bay View newspaper, and a co-founder and executive of the African Great Lakes Action Network. Check out what he has to say about what was initially a coup in Niger and how has now ballooned into a regional Pan-African battle against neo-colonialism, with Niger, Mali, Guinea on one side, and the West African puppet governments, including Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Senegal, and others, aligned with France and the U.S. on the other side. So now over there, you have actual Pan-Africans. Actually, it is actual Pan-African battle. You got one that's saying, hey, we're the underdogs and we're tired of being ruled by colonial powers. Then you got Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Senegal, and others that's with the United States and France. Let me tell you this right here. If you know that the United States and France is actually backing this actual this actual president in there, then you pretty much already know what the deal is. So now, like I said, here on Twitter, here on Facebook, here on YouTube, here all over, well, all we hear about is Pan-Africanism and that we all Africans, we all need to do this, and we all need to go back over to Africa, and we all need to unify, we all need to do that. I want to know exactly what the brothers over here in America plan on doing about that. They call themselves Pan-African. Since this has ballooned into an actual Pan-African battle, well, once again, a colonial master in the background with playing with the puppet strings, pulling strings and puppet, still getting their gold, still getting their uranium. You know, what exactly do they plan on doing here in America? What are the people over here? We see a bunch of spaces online. I believe last night they had a space talking about that hip hop was Pan-African. So, you know, everything is Pan-African. So I want to know exactly what's going to be the resolution, what's going to be the way of fighting amongst this, how are they going to go ahead and find a solution. I'm going to jump real quick to the back part of this article. Like I said, it's a long article, and I don't plan on reading all this article. What's up, DJ? I see DJ coming up in the spot as well, too. And in the back part of this article, they let it be known that, hey, we need Black American intervention. We need Black Americans to step up and to use their clout, use their power, use everything they can, once again, to go ahead and, you know, be a sounding board for us. As if, as if Black Americans haven't always done that. So once again, people expecting Black Americans once again to do that. So let me just go to like the tail end. DJ, when you get a chance, I sent you the actual co-host invite. Shout out to everybody that's on YouTube coming in there. Make sure you guys subscribe, share, like, comment on the broadcast tonight. Shout out to Governor Stephanie, Black MP. Shout out to you guys coming up in here. Buckshot Q, FBA. John, go ahead and please definitely go ahead and share out the space for the night. Please definitely go ahead and share out the space for the night. It says the West was a big-time supporter of apartheid, South Africa, and the colonialists. They provided weapons, funding, political, diplomatic support to colonial forces. Often countries aligned with the USSR were on the side of African movements trying to liberate Africans from colonialism. One of the most notable ones was Cuba, which sent troops to multiple countries to fight against colonialism. While the U.S. had Nelson Mandela on the list of terrorists, Cuba, which was close ally with the USSR, Russia, was contributing all the resources they could to end apartheid in South Africa. They also did this in multiple African countries. What are your views on BRIC new currency that will be backed by gold that most likely will sink the dollar and economic power of the U.S.? This Claude Gatebuke is the one that has the African organization. Says, I love having a balance of power. I also love seeing the underdogs rise. While a strong U.S. dollar may benefit me personally, being in America, I think the liberation of people and people's freedom is much more important than that. To that extent, I think anytime there's a choice in the world, it prevents abuses. The de-dollarization taking place around the world is going to even the playing field with time. I also think currency backed by commodities is a good thing. I hope BRICS countries will get fully rolled out. I think an even playing field will bring about a change with more countries and trading partners instead of master slave relationships. J.R. Valerie says, why is it important for Black people from the U.S. to speak on international politics? What effect does our opinion have internationally? Why? Black Americans are one of the largest populations of African descent in the Western Hemisphere. Black opinion is also important in U.S. politics and global politics. Black Americans and Black people in America were key players in the independence movements in Africa and in raising the profile of the plight of African descendants all over the globe. From Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X to Martin Luther King Jr. to Muhammad Ali and many others, they pushed for the liberation of African nations from colonialism. They spoke out against apartheid and exploiting of Africans. The voice of Blacks in America raises a profile of global issues during apartheid. The late Randall Robinson led the anti-apartheid movement in America via the Trans-African Forum. It is also the Trans-African Forum that was a forefront of bringing Haitian President Aristide back to Haiti after U.S. President George Bush administration banned him from the Western Hemisphere, something that was maintained by the Obama administration. In spite of Obama objecting to Aristide's return to Haiti, he came back to his home. This is one small example, but a recent one. Given the black population in Africa, given the black population in America, the availability of technology that allows marginalized black people's voices to be heard, the refusal for many in the black community to sell out, and the buying power of blacks in America, it makes it difficult for the U.S. and in turn the Western world from carrying out imperialist and neo-colonial projects unbothered. Coupled with the fact that the number of U.S. politicians count on the black vote, U.S. policy can be kept in check by black people in America. The voice of black people in America has made it difficult for black people around the world to be lynched in peace for perpetrators. It has been instrumental in the liberation of blacks all over the world. It is important that this voice be used to carry out the will of the people in Niger and the descendants of Africa all over the world. What he said there was pretty powerful. What he said there, I don't necessarily disagree with either. What he said there makes perfect sense. You know, black people voice magnifies, black people in this country magnifies, and that's one reason that black people, that's one reason why, you know, when it comes to trying to get issues solved, people look for black Americans. They're starting to ask black people all over the United States right now, is there anything that they can do to speak out, to help the situation going over there in Niger? And I'm saying this right here. You got a bunch of black people that's in this country that consider themselves Pan-Africans. I want to know exactly what they plan on doing about the situation. What do they plan on? How do they plan about going about trying to get liberation? Because that's all we hear in these spaces. That's all we always hear is about Pan-Africanism, unity, uniting, coming together as one. That's the only way we can overcome white supremacy and this and that or whatever. Well, it's clearly shown that France and the United States are pretty much running the show over there, still in these old French colonies. Now the United States comes over there to the aid of this elected president in Niger, backed by the United States government, backed by France, you know, because of that gold and that uranium over there that France is getting, and I'm sure the United States is getting their share of it as well too. Everything that they've set up is flowing perfectly till you had a few unruly Negroes came in there and kind of, you know, shook things up. So now you got people talk about Pan-Africanism. Well, yeah, now you do have a Pan-African battle that's brewing. You got on one side a set of nations that's tired of being ruled, and then you got on another side a set of other nations, African nations, backed by the U.S. and the Western world, that's willing to go to war against their so-called brother. Okay, if we can't find Pan-Africanism on the actual continent, if you can't come to an actual understanding in actual Africa, if you can't go ahead and take control of your resources, stop living off the dollar of the U.S. and the dollar of France, and how do you expect Pan-Africanism to really work in the world? How is it going to work? How can Pan-Africanism work 7,000-8,000 miles away when it can't work on the continent with the most amount of melanated people in the world, with the most amount of resources in the world, with a young population and everything else? So how do you expect people from the diaspora, from America in particular, because that's the thing that this gentleman just said when he was talking about the actual black people voice in America and how they're able to do this for apartheid and how they was able to get Haiti's president back home after he was exiled, Aristide. You don't hear them mentioning any other black groups in the diaspora. You can't have Pan-Africanism if it's always black Americans, because that's a one-way street. You have to talk about other, and they're saying, well, you know, because the power of America and the power of this and the power of that and technology and yada, 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 and they need the black votes and this and that or whatever. You can't have this actual unification, this federation that's been non-existent. You got to have it right there in the actual land. And right here, we're seeing that there is no unification. You got dumbasses from Nigeria and some of these other nations willing to go to back with France. And I know people say, well, you know, this man was he was elected. He was democratically elected, and this is a coup. And I don't even want to hear all about that coup stuff, because whenever these Western nations want to go ahead and put a puppet in there, they'll get him democratically elected. They've been doing that for the longest time. You're right here on the continent. You got resources that these people cannot live without. and you're sitting up here and you're willing to go ahead and back a former colonizer in France and the last biggest slave nation on earth, the United States, sitting up here when you should be sitting up here finding a way how we can go ahead, take all of the damn uranium, all of the gold, have France and them come to us, offering us, top dollar for any and everything else like that. But no, you're not going to do that. You're willing to go to war. And now people are willing to say, hey, how can the Black Americans help us? What can Black Americans do to lift us up? Listen, if we're going to get to that point and you want Black Americans, and I have no problem with that, but now it needs to be an exchange of goods service here now. For too long, the cachet of Black America has gone. And, when they have said stuff, when Black Americans, you don't get the credit. No matter whenever you voice and you open your mouth and you speak up for other Black people around the world, very rarely do some of these people appreciate it. And that's sad to say, and I know that's not everybody, but far too many people from some of our brothers and sisters throughout the world, they look up here and they don't acknowledge the actual sacrifice and contributions that Black Americans actually made to make their lives better by simply opening their mouth up. They sit up here and they totally ignore that. They act like it never happens. Too often, too many times, some of our brothers and sisters come to this country and they got their ass on their shoulders and they heads in the clouds and they act like they don't know you, when they simply could say, hey, you know what? We appreciate what you've done. We know you didn't have to do it, and we're going to stand with you and this and that. You can't even get solidarity right there on the continent. You can't even get solidarity. But right here, we sitting up here talking about resources right here. I saw something today, and I think the United States had to ask for permission for Niger to go ahead and even to fly airplane in there. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, man. They should have told them, hell no, you can't fly no airplane up in here. Like straight up. I know that they're going against the other ones, the other African nations or whatever, but look, the last thing they want to have is the U.S. actually landing stuff and bringing in supplies. The United States bringing them big boys, you're really going to feel the heat right here. You better go ahead. If you got any kind of advantage, you better try to keep it as much as you can. So I want to actually see the unity on the actual continent. Forget about what we can do over here in terms of opening our mouths and this and that or whatever. I want to see actually unity from you guys. Show us what real Pan-Africanism looks like. Show us, teach us how to actually implement this worldwide. Because if it can't be implemented with the most Black people, the most resources, the youngest population on earth, Black people at where you are the majority by far, then how in the hell can you expect it to actually take place 6, 7, 8,000 miles away? It just that's becoming far-fetched. That's like Jack and the Beanstalk type stuff. It's fairy tales. If you can't do it there with everything that's at stake, and you're sitting up here and you're allowing France and everything else, because they've been going off on France over there too now. So, it's getting to the point now the media is also showing everything. Oh, they burned this down and they burned that down and this and that or whatever. And the fact of the matter, like I say, you already got a battle royal that's already starting up over there. You already got people taking sides. You got this set of nations against this set of nations right here. That's your Pan-Africanism. That's your unity. That's your federation. That's everything that we're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be able to come together and put the tribalism aside and this and that or whatever, because real tangibles, real resources are right there to be taken. But yet it's not being taken. And you're saying, hey, Black Americans, you're the reason that so many people in the world are not marginalized. You open your voice, you say this, you say that. Well, I mean, not to be a hard ass, but yeah, we can do that. And I'm sure you'll have some Black people say it, even though a lot of Black people in politics have been somewhat silent, but what's in it for us? And it's bad to be that way. It's bad to be like that, but what's in it for us? Whenever we have come to your aid, whenever we have set up and attack policies to get more people that look like us over to this country, what's in it for us? Because it hadn't been a whole hell of a lot in it for us, except an ass to kiss. So how is this going to make the lives of Black Americans better? Because when Black Americans got nothing in return, never asked for anything, and still went ahead and voiced and voice their opinions about the situation. Never ask for one dime. Never ask for any kind of notoriety, for anything like that or whatever. You know, what's in it for Black Americans? And I know people say, well, you should feel good because you're just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. Been there, done that. Been doing it out of the kindness of your heart for the longest. For 50 some odd years, 50, 60 years, from the time that we've been able to have an actual, from the time you guys have been coming out of colonialism, been speaking up for you while also getting treated like crap over here. You know, we got to have, it's got to be reciprocated. You know, whenever Black people get treated over here, we need some of the African brothers and the politicians over there to start using their voices and saying, hey, you know, we don't appreciate the way Black people being treated like second class citizens and dogs in that country. You know, you can't even gather your resources up to really hurt these people where it matters most, which is in the pocket. So let me go ahead and we got a couple hands up. I see we got Original, and I'm gonna get to you, Sister Stephanie. Everybody, peace to y'all in the space. Make sure y'all tweet the space out. We're starting to have more and more people sitting up here. You see the conflict that's happening. You're starting to have a battle royal, a pan-African battle royal. Nations being split up, sides being divided. Once again, Mr. Charlie got his hand in the back of a certain group of people over there, and he's pulling their damn strings. And for all of the brother talk and we won and we the same people and this and that or whatever, right in the same area, neighboring nations are ready to go to blows, are going to blows, are fighting, you know, over something that's on their land that they're willing to go ahead and give to somebody else, while other people saying, hey, we want to be free, we're tired of being kicked in the ass. Other people saying, well, hey, you know what, we don't mind being kicked in the ass. We've been kicked in the ass for the past couple hundred years. What's another 100 years or so? Original, what's up? Go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, Newstoter?
You sound like you in the Matrix, Original. You're in the Matrix. Go ahead and come down, Original. Drop down and then come back up because you're in the Matrix. I don't know if he can hear me, but drop down, Original, because you're in the Matrix. Stephanie, go ahead, Stephanie. I know you're probably at work, so go ahead real quick.
No, I'm off today.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to you, Newstoter. I just want to say thank you for having the space. I don't understand for the life of me why the Pan-Africans just don't pack up and just go over there and try to help without our help, because we have helped long enough only for other people to come here and disrespect us as a whole and demean us and you know, kind of phase us out of certain things as far as jobs and other things that they're doing sneakily. I hope they know what they're doing when it comes to Russia, because Russia has many faces, okay? And if they don't understand what happened in the Congo back in 2019 and 2020, so when they had Russian forces over there in the Congo, and they were raping and killing people back in, I think it was 2020. So if they want to align themselves with a group of people like that, let alone what happened in Russia when they was kicking them out in the streets, during this whole thing with the Ukrainians. If they don't understand that, then they got a long road ahead of them, because they are something else, okay? These people have stabbed us in the back too many times, so I can't, I wish them the best, but that's on them now. I burnt my candle out, so that's on them. I wish them the best, but I can't align myself with some backstabbers either. So I wish them good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. You made some interesting points. I would say the only thing, Stephanie, is how much of, I don't really know how much of a choice they have at this point in time. Now you can align yourself with the Chinese, which you're already doing. You're giving them resources left and right. So, but if you got France and you got the United States over there backing, you're gonna need a heavy hitter in your pocket. So the only thing that they need to learn how to do is play the game. You use them for what you use them for, but you don't ever let these people get full control of it. And that's one thing that a lot of these nations over there, they don't know how to do. They sit over there and they allow them to gain too much control over the land, the resources, and everything else like that. the resources of land has got to stay within you, man. You can't be just sitting up here. First off, they should be selling no land over there. You lease land out on maybe a 2-3 year basis. That's it. And after that, we come back to the table. We negotiate. I don't care how much machinery that you're bringing over there, and you're extracting these minerals and everything else from the damn ground. Listen, the bulk of it is going to go to us, straight up. You'll get some of it, but the bulk of it is ours. And that's how you look at it. And that's how they should have built their economies. That's how they could have built their cities up. And they would have world-class countries and cities and everything else had they done that, instead of getting pennies on the damn dollars. And now you got a bunch of ignorant fools sitting up here trying to keep everything in line where they still getting pennies on the damn dollar, sitting up here trying to keep France. Now, how in the hell is France over there in France and you still on their currency? You got a bunch of these West African nations still on their currency. And you said it right, too. I want to see, and that's what I'm making this way. I want to see some of the Pan-Africans. I want to hear what their ideas are about how they can go over there and how they can help and this and that as well, too. Since they're saying that, hey, we need to do this as a people, we need to do that. I am interested to hear exactly how do you plan on going and doing that? Are you raising money over there for them? What are you doing? Okay. Because, you know, they're showing the actual warfare and everything else on TV and this and that. How are you actually going to help? You talk about Pan-Africanism all the time. You have these spaces, you have this, you have that. If you're not a Pan-African, you're a sellout and this and that or whatever. So I want to know exactly how they're going to go over there and help these people. And mind you, this is turned into a battle royal. You got African nations fighting African nations now. Okay. You know, and guess who, once again, I guess we didn't learn that from the 1600s and the 1700s and everything else, 1800s. I guess you still haven't seen who's still playing daddy over there. Why do they still look at you as just niggas running through the jungles and stuff like that? Still haven't learned exactly the game. So you go right back over there, and once again, they're taking resources, and you're willing to go ahead and kill each other over resources, then enrich this white man. What's up? I see Original. You came back up. Original, you want to come back up here? I'm gonna let you if you want to go ahead and speak, then I'll go ahead and get to Governor as well. You want to go ahead, Original?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell you now, these so-called Pan-Africans, they're not gonna, some of them will stand up and do, but I would say the majority of them, they're not gonna do anything because hell, they fighting against us over here, trying to tell us that we should not delineate from other people when other people delineate from us. Because I remember I was at a forum years ago in Los Angeles, and so when Laurent Kabila was coming up to power in the Congo, and so this one brother who was there, what they did was they took all these newspaper clippings and magazines, and they were showing Laurent Kabila what the West was saying about him. And at this one gathering they said, you know, these white folks were like, well, I'm here for this mineral, I'm here for that mineral. They didn't give a damn. All they wanted was what they wanted. And so when the fight broke out, this one guy, he was like, oh, man, they're shooting. And this one brother, he said, shut the fuck up. He said, if somebody break through that goddamn door, you take their gun and take them down and you shoot the shit out of them. But this one guy, he was scared as crap. And that's how the majority, I would say the majority of these so-called Pan-Africans in this country, that's how they operate. They give this so-called black unity stance. But when it comes to, you know, real fighting, they're nowhere to be seen. And that's just being real with it. But I'm happy to see some of the other countries. I think it's Kenya and Mali and I forget which other countries that are standing with Niger and the food. And see, that's just like what we have here. Like you have Corey Bush and all these other folks that want to try to stand in the way. You got what's his name, Ron Daniels and the rest of them. They want to stand in the way because see, they are like the countries that are standing. I think it's Nigeria standing with France or something like that.
Yeah, it's not. It's Nigeria with France. It's the Ivory Coast, it's Senegal, and others as well too. Aligned with France and the United States. They in it too as well.
Right. See it, but see, that's that same thing. But you see, these so-called Pan-African groups over here, they're being financed by that white dollar, and so they have to stand with the parasites to continue this parasitic relationship. And so you see the same thing that's going on there that's going on here, because you got NARC and then Cobra. Now see, think about it. How many black organizations in this country that you know that can have who has the finances that the NARC and then Cobra and the NAACPs that they have, and they're financed and controlled by black folks? It doesn't exist. You have a few small organizations here that are doing their own thing. There's an organization called CMOTAP. It's called Confronting Media Offensive to African People. They don't take money from white people. They said if they can't finance it with their own people, they don't need it. So there are a few real Pan-African groups, but the numbers are not that great, and their financing is very sketchy. It's what they can raise from the community or what they can invest in, whatever disposable income they can invest within the group. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at here in this situation, because I tell you, the situation that black people are in around the world could not have happened and will not continue to happen. It won't until we start going after these agents or these turncoats or whatever you want to call them. They are the reason why these things keep happening to us. Look at how when black people protest in this country, but you got the CBC and all these other stupid black folks, they stand up and let's throw the black Republicans in there too. They're not any better. But they go along with this crazy crap that, as you see, this I can't think of the name, but there's a black guy and a black girl that's caught up in this stuff with Donald Trump here in Atlanta. And the girl, she was trying to get Mrs. Ruby Freeman to confess that she made a mistake and this, that, and whatever. And they got her ass on tape doing that. So, like I tell people, it doesn't matter what they're Democrat or Republican. Hell, they all low down. But I am pulling for Niger and Mali and these other countries to go in there and just do whatever guerrilla warfare you have to do. Kill if you got to kill these agents that are helping the U.S. and France, do it, because they're not going to stop. But at the same time, see, and with us, me personally, I really wouldn't have a problem going over to Africa to see if I could live over there. But considering how some of these governments, how some of these countries are so unstable, and the reason that they are unstable is because of interference from the West. So you go over there, hell, you don't know, and depending on who's in power, hell, you don't know if you're going to be killed or be able to get out or whatever, because that's just how unstable it is. That's how unstable it is. And I hope that they really look at what they're getting into with Russia and China. They need to understand that Russia and China they're just two additional groups of white folks. Chinese just white folks with slit for eyes. That's it. They're no different. But if you remember, there were, I think it might have been Kenya or somewhere, where these Chinese had some businesses and they didn't want the local coming into the business. And they had to go after them. And one guy, I think it was in Uganda or Burundi, this Chinese guy had tied this guy to a post and was beating him. And that guy, luckily, he was jailed, and now he was arrested, and now I think he's in jail for like 20 years. But there has to be something done whereby more of these countries are coming together, and they're going to stand at the, as you were saying, show us what Pan-Africanism is with the number of people that you have over there. But unfortunately, they got out within each country. You have these buku tribes that don't want to get along with one another for whatever reason. And see, a lot of that comes from interference from the West. Remember when I shared with you, and I was in a space where this sister from the Sudan, and she lives in Australia now. And she was talking about how she was how they was being treated down in Australia. So I shared with her this sister named in Australia. Her name is Dr. Grace Smallwood. I said, see if you can pull her up now. And I said, just tell her that someone who knew Renoko Rashidi gave you her information and asked you to contact her. And I told her, I said, look, we are not your enemy. I said, you all are going to have to stop looking at us as if we are your enemy. I said, because I didn't have to share that information with you. But you said you was having some issue, and I'm just trying to connect you with somebody. Although I do not know Dr. Grace Smallwood personally, but I said, I'm just trying to connect you with somebody to maybe they can extend some sort of support to you. But I said, you all are going to have to start calling out your cones that are attacking us, because we technically don't have an issue with you. That's from what's going on with the West. Because remember, I shared with you what Dr. Smallwood shared with us in the 90s. She said that they would see these black military people coming to Australia, and they would try to have a dialogue with them. And they would just, hey, stay away from me, stay away from me. And so finally, some of them came and had a dialogue with them. And what they shared was, they said the United States government had told them that the Aboriginal people, they was killers, drunkards, rapists, the whole 9 yards. And so, but she shared that with us. And so that's technically is what's going on. So you got, like you said, Nigeria with all this oil and all these other minerals. Why would you side with France and go and attack someone that basically look like you because some white folks want you to, or they promise you some kind of cut or whatever? But there was a video that somebody placed on Twitter today. It was in, I forget which country it was in, but this one of these officials was trying to get out of the country, and they had suitcases packed with nothing but money. And so if they could have gotten out of the country with that money, then they would have converted it to whatever currency of the country that they were trying to get into, and they'd have been able to live a comfortable life. So technically, and what I commented on, I said that's the same thing that we have going on here. Look at how the Congressional Black Caucus will take our vote and represent every demographic except for us, and then expect us to go out here and support the stupidity that they're doing. All of this stuff has to stop that's going on around the world. And until enough of us, whatever that number is, because some people go, well, what do you mean enough? Whatever that number is, until enough of us stand up and begin to seriously confront these people, this is going to continue all over the world. Because, especially here in America, because like I said, you got the black Democrats and Republicans, both of them operating on stupid, because you hear one of them say, well, like the black Republicans say, well, that's why I don't vote Democrat. And you say, well, okay, what are the Republican offering? Then they get quiet. They don't want, because they know they have to toe that line. See, I don't identify with either party, because my point is that if you can't say what you're going to do for my demographic, I don't have any business voting for you, plain and simple. But I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I just want to share that is that, this is like you said, this is the perfect time for Africa to show the world that they can unite and beat the hell out of these people. Because like you said, why would you allow America to land a plane in your country, knowing how shady they are? I would have told them you can land in another country, and I'll give your people safe passage to the border, and you can pick them up. Other than that, no, you can't come in here because who knows what kind of operatives they may have sneaking up the plane. But I don't know if you knew this news, Total. See, back in the 90s, remember that old ugly old white parasite, Margaret Thatcher?
Yep.
Her son and some more people, they had gone into, they had taken all these weapons into, they were smuggling these weapons. It was her son, I think some of them were from America. They was going into Zimbabwe. What they was trying to do, they was trying to overthrow President Robert Mugabe. And so they got caught trying to smuggle these guns in, and they was trying to claim that the guns was for their protection. How in the hell you gonna try to take a gun to another country and say it's for your protection? And so instead of jailing them for 20 years, they worked out some sort of an agreement. I mean, hell, had it been me, I'd have just threw their ass in jail and let them starve to death. But see, they do things like that, and see, it was some kind of mineral that they had found that it was going to make them filthy rich, and they were trying to go over there to destabilize the country, and they get control of that mineral, and they'd have been set for life. This is the kind of shady shit that these white folks do, and unfortunately, they have some black folks to help them go along with it. This is why all over the world, wherever we are having these issues. It's because at some point we will have to straight up deal with these coons and Sambos, because it is because of them as to why we're in these positions. And I'll land with that.
Thank you, original. Thank you. DJ, if you're in the space, I don't see you, so I don't know, but I know for real.
Gotta minimize your screen before I bring it back up. But Twitter just updated them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had updated it earlier, but damn, I don't even see you up here. But shout out to Governor. Shout out to Governor. Thank you for your donation, Governor, as well too. But go ahead, Governor. You may right. I might have to go ahead and try to minimize it or whatever, do whatever I got to. But go ahead, Governor. You got it.
Nah, you good. I didn't know, the senior citizen was going, find all the words in the English language to explain the world history of white people. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to, come up here, get the get the get the
I got a secret for you too.
I was just trying to get the Venmo, so I can see that song up, but damn, I done learned so much, man. Too bad, he keep getting his ass whooped at the liquor store. But yeah, man, good conversation. I can't stand X-Clan. All that for the black, the green, and the red shit. I hated X-Clan. They was nasty. They was Pan-African rapists. That's all I got for you. So, man, I just really wanted to come up here, sing that song up. Yeah, much.
All right, no problem. I see we got my boy Professor up here, man up as well too. What's up, Professor? I know you want to get up in this conversation as well. Hey, real quick, Professor DJ, y'all hold it down. I'm gonna go ahead and see, because I don't even see you, DJ. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what's up with this, and I'll be right back. So y'all hold it down for me for a second.
Go ahead, bro.
Shout out to the space. How y'all doing tonight? Good to see everybody up in here.
What up?
Or whatever at any time. So that's why, as DJ will also say, come to social. That's right. Come to social, baby. Get you a profile set up on there, because at the end of the day, these folks are gonna get rid of all the black asses up in here. I'm just telling you now. That's what they doing. They target black people, and they just come in and just take your profile. And of course what I'm doing right now, because they seem like they like to focus on me because I go after these white supremacists so hard. I decided I won't even put a profile picture, because they target everything. Your picture, hell, if you, like DJ said, I think he mentioned something about if you put the black hand up, or you change your hand to the black hand for your icon or whatever. They'll target that because they know you're black. So it's just seems to be everything now. Whatever you say or whatever you try to do to target or to go back at these white supremacists, they're gonna get rid of your profile. So, and so that seems to be, this will be like the third time they gonna hit my shit.
All right, Professor, I'm glad you're back. Yeah, now I can see you, DJ. So I had to go ahead and close it out real quick and come back. So now I can see, because I didn't even know where you was at up in the space as well. To shout out to everybody up in the space, y'all. Make sure y'all go ahead and tweet the space out. We're talking about, will any Pan-African go to Africa to help Niger in their conflict? I want to know, because we got a ton of Pan-Africans that hold spaces all the time. We got a bunch of Pan-Africans on social media. We got a bunch of Pan-African organizations and everything else. Like I said from the article, I briefly touched up on it. I didn't want to read it because it was a long article. They're trying to get Black Americans to actually use their voice, to actually be the voice of reason, to go ahead and to get solidarity, and also to get help to the issues going on over there in Africa as well too. Is that they're asking Black Americans to do like you did for apartheid and so many different other injustices in this world when it comes to Black people worldwide, because nobody ever wants to admit it till it's actually time to get help. That Black Americans, you know, they're the ones that they go to, the Black diaspora, whenever it's an issue, something like that comes up. You won't give them credit for anything else. Normally they don't have any culture, they ghetto, they trash, they baby mamas and baby daddies, and you know, they just a group of people that just walking around with their heads cut off. But okay, now we need them. Now we need your help. Can you help us? Can you do something that'll put the eyeballs of the world on us? So yeah, like I said, I want to hear what the actual Pan-Africans got to say. And how ironic is this? This is taking place all in West Africa. Originally, I know you say Kenya, but actually no East African nation is involved in this. All of this is West African nations. How many hundreds of years ago did these same nations that were actual kingdoms and tribes and empires and everything else were engaged in the actual you had a certain group of them fighting against the other group, enslaving people and selling them as slaves to Europeans? Well, you fast forward a few hundred years later, and once again, we got to say, once again in the same area, we got a group of Black people that's trying to fight for freedom, while you got another group of Black people sitting up here trying to keep them in bondage and keep them in chains and saying, hey, you know, it's nothing wrong with the way things are going. I like the actual contract we got with Boss. It was just like how Malcolm said that time when he was talking about the house niggas sitting up here talking about, is we sick, boss? The same kind of mindset, not understanding like, hey man, you the one that had the actual, if these nations actually came together, they would kick France in their ass within a few months and drive France out of there. But instead, you got Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest Black nation on the face of the earth. Now I'll say that again. Nigeria is the largest Black nation on the face of the earth, and Nigeria is sitting up here going with their colonial masters. The only colonial master that ain't there is the actual they British daddy that named the country, and they sitting up here. They got more Black people in that nation. Nigeria should actually be it could be a superpower. It has that kind of resources. It has that the everything that you could want. It has. And they're sitting up here siding with France. Just think about that. The same way you had some of these powerful kingdoms in the 15 and 1600, the same way doing colonization and everything else. They set up here and traded people and went ahead and brokered all kind of BS treaties and stuff and just gave land away and gave gold away and gave all kind of resources away. But they come right back with the same nonsense. Now they're going to sit up here and they're going to go and they're going to tuck their tails between their legs and they're going to sit up here and they're going to side with the Western power. You got to worry about NATO. You got to worry about France. You got to worry about the USA. And they're going to sit up here instead of trying to say, hey, you know what? Right here, what we got, why fight each other? We got our own coalition here. So the next time NATO and the US and everybody wants to put sanctions on us and they want to try to freeze us out, well, hell, we got the ocean, we got the sea, we got the actual resources. Nobody's freezing us out. Nobody's going to make us go hungry again, ever. But they won't do that. Nigeria, I'm not even talking about the other. I'm not even talking about Senegal and Ivory Coast and them. I'm not even going to mention them. I'm talking about Nigeria, that's got what over 200 some odd million black people in the actual nation, got gold, got oil, got all type of resources, and they're gonna sit up here and they're gonna go along with this garbage. For what? What is Nigeria getting in return? Nigeria can't even get rid of the damn get rid of them damn Muslims in North Africa and in the northern part of the damn country running them and stuff like that. I mean, you see why. You see why black people as a whole and original, you hit it right on the head. Like sooner or later, man, this coon class that is evident with black people, no matter what part of the world you go in, sooner or later, man, this coon class, you have to jaw check these boys. I mean, they just been for years going around doing as they wanted to do. And they're just sitting around still doing it. Nigeria is sitting up here on the lap. And that's why you see a lot of times these Nigerians, and you see when they have their little courts and they got their little white wigs on and stuff, and you can't tell them they're not part of the British Parliament, the most idiotic looking thing I've ever seen. Nigga dark as charcoal sitting up here with a damn white wig on, like he's George Washington or he's one of these. He's Benjamin Franklin or, I mean, he's John Cornwall or whatever. I mean, come on, man. It's just the most ridiculous thing, and you can't tell them. You're supposed to be talking about your history, and you know your history, and you know your culture, and you know your lineage and your pride, and you're in your ancestral homeland. Yeah, you sitting up here with a damn white wig on, ruling court. Original, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, and let me share this with you. You know, so this was like in the maybe late '80s or early '90s. In Nigeria, there's a group of people who are called the Ogoni people. Right? You may have heard about this. One brother named Ken. His name was Ken Sarawiwa, and so they was upset because these jacked up in the head Muslims and all, they were allowing the oil, they were allowing shale oil to come in and just take whatever they want. And see, what goes on is it's the same thing that goes on here. A few people are getting money, and then the rest of the people are starving. And so what happened is the people, they got upset. They were like, look, we need to benefit. These are our minerals too. And so what happened is that something went down. Ken Sari he was killed, and then you had some other people. They was trying to tap into this oil pipeline, and the damn thing blew up, and it killed a lot of people. And what these people do is that, like Shell Oil and others, they will go over there and have all kind of oil spills and don't clean up anything. So the land in that area is not arable for them to live. And so these people are moving around because this jacked up leadership, they have the same jacked up leadership as we do. And like you said, a lot of it is because of the degenerate religions. You got, I think the Muslims are in the north, and then the Christians are in the south. So Nigeria is a mess in itself. But yeah, they don't try to use the mineral wealth to, feed the people that's there. And that's why you have so many people trying to get the hell up out the joint. There was an article that I read a little while ago, and they interviewed these Nigerians who had gone to Canada, and over 90% of them said that they would never go back to Nigeria. And see, but yet a lot of people are promoting for us to go over there. You saw when that stupid looking Akon saying that, well, we can get the African Americans to come over here. We could. We're not coming. We have enough destabilization where we're living right here. We're not coming to the unknown and not knowing how we're going to be treated. That's not going to happen. There will have to be some concessions. And so, so you have these people that they've been doing this for so long, it has become normative for them. And so I don't know what to say, because like I say, if you're waiting on these little broke Pan-Africans, because even years ago in Los Angeles, I even suggested, I said, well, listen, why don't we put together some type of a delegation whereby we can try to, make contact with some of these countries, and when there's some kind of uprising, maybe we could go over there and intervene and try to get them to come together on some common ground. You know, it didn't go nowhere. I'm telling you how these people are. A friend of mine that I met in Los Angeles, she used to be a part, now check this out, she used to be a part of this group, and the group name was African Minds United, okay? And so what she has, she worked at Disney, and she was paid a good salary at Disney. And so she has suggested that they buy a convenience store gas station, right? And that they hire the youth from the community to run the gas station. They ended up kicking her out of the group. I don't know, you know, and so when I met her, she would hear me calling on the radio. And when I met her, it was myself and this other brother named Stan. So we was going to another lecture where we met her. And so the three of us were sitting there talking. And so this one guy came in, Newstoter, had on the dashiki, had locks flowing, going everywhere, you know what? So he came in and gave both Stan and I a flyer. And he didn't give her one because he was part of that group, African Minds United. And so we looked at it, and at the same time, Stan and I was trying to give her our flyer. And she said, "Oh, no, that's okay. I'm fine. I'm good. And then when he thought about it and saw how stupid he looked, then he came back. We said, "No, we got her covered right here." See, it's stupid shit like that goes on, whether it be here in America or on the continent, that these people, that when you suggest something that they don't want, or they may feel that if it works, they may become useless. So yes, I've spent time with a lot of these so-called Pan-Africans, and I'm telling you, they are just as jacked up as Jack can be. And they don't, like you see some of these organizations, there's an organization called the Malcolm X Grassroots. Now, we all know how Malcolm X was about not taking money from white folks. I did a little research and saw the Malcolm X Grassroots, they're financed by George Soros. So none of these people are serious about doing anything. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to land. I remember this one guy, he was pro-black, this and that, and blah, 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 blah. So I had, at that time, I had gotten this, you know how you have those football flags on your car? So I had a red, black, and green on my car. And this guy, I was coming down the 110 interstate, coming home. He kept honking his horn. I'm like, what the hell is this? Then I looked, then I recognized him. And he said, "Yeah, man, I like your flag." I said, "You want me to get you one?" He said, "Oh, no, I'm good." See, a lot of them, they pseudo Pan-African. But see, when people come up in there that will fight and do something, a lot of them get scared because they don't want any trouble. And that's just, I'm just telling you, that's just how it is. So at this point, I really don't bother with a lot of the Pan-African stuff because I know that the majority of them, they're just collecting information as to who you are, what you're doing, and what you are capable of doing. And they're going right back to white folks tell them. That's basically what Africans are here in America. And as we can see with Nigeria and the Ivory Coast helping France, why would you, and think about this, Newstoter, just a few years ago, the Ivory Coast were having problems with France, but France was trying to, they removed the president and something else and did, but now you are fighting with this is insane. So all I can say is, let's take care of ourselves, do what we got to do to take care of ourselves, and if we can work with somebody else, we can, and if we can't, just keep focusing on ourselves, and I'll land with that.
Thank you, Original. Real quick, guys, up in the Jumbotron, we have the Newstoter YouTube channel up in there. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. For those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Also up in the Jumbotron, we have the Venmo and PayPal for anybody that does not have an actual Cash App. For those on YouTube, the Cash App is on the actual broadcast screen, and the actual Venmo and PayPal is up in the actual description. Like I said, for anybody that wants to donate, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get to you, Ely. Let me read this comment real quick off of YouTube. Pretty funny comment. My man named Umbutu John says, these brave African brothers are about to go to war with white people. When have black people in America ever gone to war with white people in America? Well, Umbutu, if you want to be honest, they're not about to go to war with white people, but they're finna go to war with other black people. You know, the white people are going to sit in the background and they're going to supply one side like they did, you know, back in when the colonization happened, and they're going to go in and supply one side and pick a winner like they always did. So the actual, you don't see France and Niger getting ready to fight. No, you see all of the Western African nations getting ready to fight, split up. They're going to fight each other. And not only that, but you guys are actually too, last time I looked, black people are outnumbered by white folks in this country significantly, where you guys are actually the majority. So I don't know, when was the last time y'all actually went to war with white people? Because it's been a very, very long time when you did go to war. And when you did go to war, a lot of times you always had a coon side. It also helped the white folks as well, too. So let's be totally honest about that. So you've always been the majority. Let's not go there. No disrespect, and no disrespect to the brave people that's out there willing to risk their lives trying to get freedom. But last I looked, you know, it's been a long time since you actually went to war with white folks. And I understand white folks had the advantage of technology with the guns and everything else, but you guys outnumbered them. And had you come together, even though you were outgunned and the technology was on their side, you still would have made that battle oh so close one. But you didn't. Everything was divided up, and the white folks went in there, and whatever beef there was between black folks, they went ahead, they saw it. You guys allowed them a lot of times to actually come in there and to negotiate and everything else, and be the peacekeeper and this and that. You gave them land, you gave them access, you allowed them into certain areas and stuff like that. And once they got settled, you know, once they get settled, that's pretty much it. And they had the advantage in technology as well, too. So all this that, you know, when did black people go to war? There was plenty of wars over here. Maybe you heard of the Seminole Wars and stuff like that. I know history says it was nothing but white folks in those wars, but you had a lot of black folks in there as well, too. And black folks also fought in the Civil War to liberate themselves as well, too, because this country is actually about to become the Confederate United States of America. Had they not actually, those black men actually not got into the actual war. So I know what you're trying to say, that, you know, basically the black people, this and that in America, they haven't done anything. And not only that, but black people have spoken up for Africa, from Nelson Mandela, apartheid, to you name it, to the conditions of Africans being treated over there. So and the actual article, if you actually take time to actually go in the actual description, you click that article and you go to Newstoter and you read it, it'll actually show you that this actual article is actually asking for black Americans to speak up, because black Americans have what they call cachet. They say black Americans, when they speak, people listen. So I know you were trying to take a shot at black Americans and this and that, but it's not black Americans that's having a civil war over there in the nation. You know, it's actually you guys on the west coast of Africa, the same coast hundreds of years ago, where the slave trade really, really took off, and you guys were decimated once you went ahead and did that, and it made it easy for them to come over there and colonize you. So maybe, just maybe, history, you can see history trying to repeat itself, and maybe you can go ahead and change things before it actually gets to that point. Or are you willing to go ahead too? Because now you have the Chinese over there, so now you're looking at a new colonizer as well too. So before we start taking shots about black people and this and that, black people only fought in the Civil War because white people allowed it. They also fought for the South. And okay, buddy, and what are y'all fighting for right now? Okay, because like I say, you sitting on the land over there with all the resources in the world, yet you have no control of it. And you got Nigeria and a bunch of other African nations sitting over here being backed by the United States and France and other NATO nations, while you got other people over there free. So you should actually, since you're the majority and most of the people on the continent are black, there's no reason why you shouldn't absolutely control everything and be and be in control of your own destiny. And not only that, if it was popping like that, bro, I mean, really, you wouldn't have a bunch of people leaving, going to Europe and going to Asia and coming to America as well, too. So let's not take shots. And white people fought, yeah, black people not only fought in the Civil War, they fought in the Industrial Revolutionary War, and they fought in every war as well, too. And whether white people allowed it or not, the white people in the North were on the verge of losing. So it kind of made sense to go ahead and get them in there. But let's see, like I said, when was the last time, name me the last time you defeated white folks with the majority of people over there? And I'll sit and I'll wait. Go ahead, DJ. You got it. I mean, I'm sorry. Let me go to Ely. Ely, I believe that is. Go ahead, Ely, and unmute your mic.
Yeah, they clipped my other page, man. But you said everything. You just said everything. I'm just like this Pan African thing. You know, it's not. We're making it something that ain't like those people need to like stay out of the reparations talk and this actual black unity talk. Because now we have Muslims and Christians saying we want reparations. And you notice that the Pan-Africans are saying we don't need reparations, but 90% of the Pan-Africans are poor and broke and selling oils, or living and going off grid and living in the woods, being Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Because I just got a tour with one guy that I've been knowing for years on some Facebook stuff because he said something about some FBA. And I'm like, what the hell, man? You off grid in the woods, man. Begging women for rides to go get gas for your generator. Don't make no sense. Ain't on the phone. If you off grid, you supposed to put the phone down too. So it's all a ploy, man. And like history is repeating itself, but you notice on our side of our story, not his story, our story, we're more not going for it no more. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, at this particular moment, I think I said a million times, at this particular moment in our story, we actually are saying enough is enough. See, 100 years ago, they couldn't say enough is enough. 50 years ago, they couldn't say enough is enough. But today, we're saying, like, we ain't taking part in none of you people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? You've noticed they trying to flip the music around, talking about Afrobeat, Latin music and all that. They try to play with the kids' heads now to make it, to give a false sense of unification. You know what I'm saying? And we got to fight back by telling our kids, hey, they ain't your brother. They ain't your sister. That's your brother, that's your sister over there. Damn them people. Don't spend no money with them. Don't listen to their music. Don't eat their food. Let them starve. Because they'll let you starve. You know what I'm saying? I tell my daughters that all the dang on time. Damn them damn people. And they ain't going to do nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to have to be our mentality. That whatever's going on in Africa, let it be. Because they ain't did nothing for nothing. Near one of us over here. In 600 years, 6 centuries, they haven't done nothing to them. Nothing for us on this land. Nothing. I can't. Ain't not one person that you can name that went over to Africa and got a million acres or got a mine with cobalt in, whatever. None. You can't name not one person. Let it ride. Let it ride. Let the people ride. All this Pan African stuff. Let it ride, man. Go talk to your Pan African people. I don't care. That's got to be the mentality now. You know what I'm saying? We actually are a powerhouse. We're a powerhouse. Everybody living off of us. They leeching off of us. You know what I'm saying? It's time for boycott. It's time for not spending money for these people. Let them starve. Let them starve. If they say you xenophobic, yeah. If they say you racist, yes, I am. Yes, now what you going to do about it? Not a daggone thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's got to be the attitude. Because these white folks here, they don't even give a damn. The majority of white folks in America live out in the country. The majority of us live in the cities. They're not thinking about the city life. That's our territory. That's our claim to fame. You know what I'm saying? And we got outposts from West Coast to the East Coast, from New York to California. We got outpost cities. You know what I'm saying? If y'all, I'm saying one last thing. I went to a family reunion, right, down in Nashville, right? You got old folks from every state. About 3,000 of us down on about 20 acres, just having a ball, right? And all the young folks acting different. But all the old folks in their 70s and 80s, from California to New York, they all acting the same. You know what I'm saying? You could tell where none of them was from. But you could tell where we was from, the kids was from. Oh, I'm from Chicago, I'm from Detroit. But all the old folks, they were just playing big wheels and everything. They looking at us like we retarded. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's about time that they let over here who say we don't deserve reparations, try to harm one of us. That's when you're gonna see some real fireworks. I'll let my play.
Okay, this dude Mbutu, and your name is Mbutu John, so you got an African name and you got a damn white last name. So Mbutu John, you got to be a complete moron to say what you're saying. You talking about black people sit over here while you American blacks sit around talking bad about us and white people without doing anything. Yeah, and like I responded, y'all fighting, but you fighting against other Africans backed by whites. Am I correct? We fight our sellouts. You elect yours as your leaders. I guess you must live in a damn twilight zone if you that damn stupid and ignorant, because your leaders are sellouts. It's a reason why you're sitting on a gold mine. You know, the complete oxymoron. You're the richest people in the world, but you're the poorest people at the same time because of your sellout leaders who go over there, take all the damn resources, take all of the wealth, put in their private bank accounts, and then when they get sick, they go to Europe to go ahead and get medical treatment. You got the nerve to sit up here and talk about you've been electing damn sellouts for the longest. And anytime y'all don't elect a sellout, they end up getting killed. And not only that, it's enough of y'all to go over there and take the damn government by force. And you haven't. So in Butu, while you sitting over here telling us what you're going to do, because I guarantee while you fighting for liberation, first off, your ass is over here in one of these westernized countries on the internet. I'm sure you're not out there in Niger with the other people getting it with your boots to the ground. So you sitting here running your mouth on YouTube talking about what you're going to do and what y'all do and this and that when you haven't done a damn thing. You probably been educated in Western education and everything else. You probably believe in Western religion. So you're the last person in the world to sit up here and tell us what we need to do, because you're not doing a damn thing yourself. If you was all that about your countrymen, I'm sure you're young enough to get your ass out there and fight. But no, you too much of a lame. You sitting up here on YouTube telling us what we need to do, and I need to do this and do that. And black Americans, like I said, you're the majority. You're the majority. Don't even sit up here. You've been dominated by Africans and Muslims for the past 1,000 years. So why don't you go ahead and do something? Why don't you make a change? Because last time I looked, when I was 5, 6 years old, you had Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie sitting up and making "We Are the World" so they can go over there and feed Africans, Ethiopians that was dying of damn starvation. So please, you're the last one to sit up here and tell us what we need to do. When all the rest of the black diaspora was sitting up there and Mandela couldn't get out, it was black Americans sitting up here. All of your leaders, all of them, Kwame and all of them came over here and got game and stuff like that over here in America, man. So sit down and shut up. You sitting up here talking about what black Americans, like I say, you sitting on you over here on YouTube. You're not trying to do anything. You talk about liberation. You're not over there trying to liberate your people. You sitting over here mad. Like I said, if you weren't that stupid, you go over there and read the article and you actually see that is your people sitting up here talking about that black Americans should go ahead and voice their opinion and say something to help them out. So we're not saying it. You're right. So go over there, stop talking, and be about it and do something. I'm sure, like I said, you're young enough to go out there and march and shoot a rifle and everything else, but you're not going to go out there. You're going to sit up here. You're going to enjoy westernized. You probably got a white wife somewhere or white girlfriend. So I'm sure you're going to sit up here, enjoy the fruits and everything else. You're sitting up in your air condition right now on your phone or your laptop. So what are you going to do? I mean, please, what are you going to do? What is the name of the person asking blacks to do something? What is your name? Mbutu. Go ahead, DJ. You got it.
Yeah, what's up, family? So at the end of the day, you already know what time it is. You know what I mean? These jokers get really upset when you talking about them, aka the African booty scratchers. You know what I'm saying? They still upset to this day about that. You know what I mean? They feelings be real hurt, son. You know what I mean? It's like a fucking trigger, bloodshed everywhere when we call on that. But that's not a racial slur, though. You know what I mean? It's not in the Urban Dictionary either. But tether is, and it's not a slur, but it's in the Urban Dictionary. So don't be mad, Tether. You already know y'all be fleeing and sleeing. You know what I mean? Scamming and bamming. You know what I mean? Whamming and lamming. That get kicked out of every country in the globe. Nigerians. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to my neighbor Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? He told me one day that his great-grandfather was a slave trader. He was Nigerian, by the way, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? So you can't get upset at black Americans. Won't you go focus that energy on Donald Trump when he said, y'all come from a shithole country? We didn't say that shit. We was like, damn, he said that. No, I'm saying. But was what it was, man. You know what I mean? So, and y'all gonna have to, HYO and hold your own nuts. That's the acronym. You know what I'm saying, man? And if we can't help some of them, though, I guess that would be the right thing to do because we're empathetic. But ain't nobody ever helped us. Is what it is. We already done laid the groundwork for the world to have their civil rights and say and all this other stuff. Let's not forget about the Russian diplomat or politician or crackerknacker that was mad that his youth over there in Russia is uprising. You feel what I'm saying? Because they listening to hip hop, but they going against y'all. So at the end of the day, how you mad at the hip hop jokers over here? Plus tether rhymes. I don't know who you be talking about when America ain't got no culture and all this. Who you specifically talking about, man? Because I'm really interested in that. That's weird. You know what I mean? Same thing with you, Spanish rights and things, Joe. You know what I mean? Ain't no Latinos invent 50% of anything. Y'all barely contributed. You barely contributed. So when you got people like Burna Boy, Akon, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they had your ass locked up over here though and shit. You was coming over here trying to get money. It ain't worked out for you. Should have just got a job like any other tether to come across reports. You know what I'm saying? Keep it real. You probably been an eye and shit. You know what I mean? But don't be telling us to come over to a shithole country. Y'all don't even got fucking basic running water, electricity. Can't flush the toilet, wipe my ass, none of that other shit. Everything over there is just, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to my sis, Mouthy Maggie. You already know what it is. But hey, man, hope y'all beat back France. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for you. Fist up in the air, my nigga. You know what I mean? I yield.
Yeah, I'm not going to take shots at the country, in terms of the infrastructure and stuff like that as well, too, because there are parts of the continent, I should say the continent that that do have amenities and do have first world resources and stuff like that as well. Is it to the point where it needs to be? No, it's definitely not. And I'm going to give shout out to the people that's actually out there trying to fight for their own liberty and trying to do something, unlike a certain number of them that basically sit up here and they're okay with actually living in the thumb of white supremacy, and they want to sit up here and talk about and this dude here talk about blacks fighting America wars, then got hung from trees. Holy, I'm not even like this joke is a troll. I'm not even finna go in because by me getting on you, that would be insulting the actual black people over there that's worth the damn. So I'm not even gonna get on it because, like I say, for the simple fact that you outnumber everybody that comes over there on the continent, yet you got Chinese, like Original said, in some of these cities and stuff. Chinese make up a very small percent of the population, and they sitting on here beating on Africans and stuff like that, and you can't do anything about it. Talking about, man, are you serious here? Like I say, first off, you got all of the resources in the world. It's like that old expression says that I've never seen somebody that do less with more. If you want to be honest, you got everything that you could have to actually have a top flight civilization, and you sitting up here. Yeah, and who cares if your wife is African? I don't care if your wife is African. Your wife probably your wife. I mean, she probably What was that, DJ?
She African booty scratch.
Nah, I ain't even finna do the African booty scratching stuff. That's kindergarten stuff people was talking about. I'm talking about this lame right here sitting up here running his mouth.
It's like calling them a nigga or like saying fuck you though. African booty scratch. That's all you gotta say is they get upset like the Incredible Hulk and shit.
This joker sitting up here talking about.
What happened in Newstoter? What happened?
We talking about the Pan Africans, and we talking about will the Pan Africans go over there to Africa and help Niger in that conflict? Because you got a split between Western nations, the ones backed by France actually fighting the ones that's actually against the ones that's actually fighting for liberation, and we got us a magpie on YouTube sitting up here talking about how black people ain't never done nothing in this country and how they're the ones that actually fight for liberation and this and that. Well, bro, if you fought for liberation, I guarantee you would not be fleeing, leaving all of these different, going different places for a better life. You be staying where you at, making it better. So let's stop the nonsense right here. Like, you outnumber, like I say, the vast majority of people in this world that's black live on that continent. So actually go out there and do something with the resources and the actual manpower that you got and make it a top flight continent, type flight countries and everything else. You sitting up here talking about because the Russians helped us in Angola and Namibia and South Africa. Okay, that's good to know that the Russians helped you. The Russians going to help you. The Chinese going to help you. And I guess you're still too stupid to realize that whenever white folks come to help you, that there's a price to pay for that help. By now, you should be helping yourself. If you can't understand that, then go sit on your zaddy lap and let him touch you up or whatever, because nobody wants to hear that dumb shit you talking about. You a coward, and you sitting up here talking coward stuff as well too. You're gonna once again be the damn slave boy of the world again. You went from having a Muslim master to a white master. Now you're getting ready to have a Chinese master. Oh yeah, we saw that y'all was letting the Chinese come over there and marry into those actual tribes. So please, like, save us with the crap right here.
Hey, it was one brother that was fighting back over there in one of them villages. They was doing construction. Chinese dude tried to beat him up. He grabbed a stick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm giving shout out because it, like I said, you got nations.
I think that I would love to see it. Ooh.
Yeah, you got nations over there fighting. I'm not talking about, like, that's the thing. I'm not talking about the ones that's actually about it, that's getting out there and rolling their sleeves up and like, hey, the hell with it. I'm talking about the ones over here that's over here in America, mouthing off in America and Britain and everything else, done left home, ain't trying to help, ain't trying to fight, instead of going over there. Because you can sit up and talk that nerve. You had black people during World War II getting ready to go over there to Ethiopia, and the United States government had to stop them from going over there. They was really ready to roll up their sleeves and get it. And the government said, oh no. Because at the end of the day, the United States government didn't want a bunch of black people going over there still beating on a bunch of white boys, which would have been the Italians. So they was like, oh no, well, we can't have this and we can't have that or whatever. Stopped it. So please, let's see the Pan-Africans over here do the same thing. Let's see them go ahead and roll up their sleeve and go over there in Western Africa and get their hands dirty. Because you ain't got the government sitting up here stopping them like they did back in the 40s when them black people would say, hey, we can't let this go ahead. So we went ahead and we've always showed that, hey, we were, if anybody was Pan-African or had that mindset, it was the black Americans over here. How many of y'all say, you know what, we're going to come over there and help them black people in the 60s that's getting water holes and getting hung and this and that. Let's go over there and help them fight or whatever. Never heard that. You hold signs begging white. You hold signs begging. You sit out there on beaches begging for dollars and stuff like that, getting pet on your head like a pet seal. What are you talking about, dude? You talking about?
And y'all women bleach their skin too. Y'all turning into real albinos.
Let me give a shout out real quick. Let me give a shout out to Harold too. Harold, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. FBA Goddess, I'm sorry, I'm letting this troll. Go ahead. I'm sorry. And anybody else that want to speak as well too. Letting some troll sit up here running his mouth.
No, he spoke already, but just let me say one thing before you go, sister. So that's what I am talking about. I'm not talking about the Pan-Africans or the Africans that are over there on the continent actually getting busy, because we fuck with them. Shout out to South Africa, you know what I'm saying? So we talking about these same Mobutu, Mutombo, Tupac Shakur, aka Watermelon Head, Cherry Clan Head, Tether Naka Head, Tether Gang Fam, you know what I'm saying? These jokers right here that be up here online. Remember, those are the only tethers. The ones that be up here talking smack against our reparations, everything that happened in America as far as our history go, and they don't support us.
Yeah, because Niger and Mali and them, they got my respect. They got my respect straight up. Yeah, they got my respect.
Yeah, I mean, FBA got us. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I just had to spit that. African boob scratching. Wow.
I'm gonna say this. I do love Africa. I do. South Africans, I love you all. Y'all know our history. If anybody know our history, it would be South Africa. They are the most riders for us. That's who I would say. But anyway, I'll tell y'all something about this Nigerian person that I actually, you know how we always talk about how they always try to push their little that they got money and their education and all this and that. Well, I know somebody. Huh?
No, I'm sad. Living your sister. They broke.
Well, I know somebody who just went to custody court, and he had a child by a Nigerian woman. And how about she don't have custody of her daughter because she abused her daughter? She tried to say in court today that in my country, we prefer them go to private schools and, all this bullshit that we know that's what they say. But guess what? She thought of saying that shit, talking about she was in, she's a nurse. I'm a nurse, and I was saving lives during COVID. How about she got her child taken from her because she's an abusive piece of shit? But then tried to get in court and try to spew all of the stuff that they say they have, and it didn't work. They don't care about this shit. None of that works over here, okay? We don't give a damn about that shit. Keep your shit at home because it didn't work. So just FYI, go to court with that shit, talking about what you got, you gonna go out of there mad just like she did. A Nigerian woman, like I just told him too, black man, I told him plain as day, I said, this should teach you a lesson. Nigerian women don't like black men. They'll fuck your ass and they'll have a baby with your ass, but they don't like your ass. He said, well, I learned that. I bet you did. Now, just leave that Africoon. I said, and that's what I call them. Leave the Africoon alone. That's what you do. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm sorry.
Challenges in the building. Africoon.
Hey, you fine. Hey, go ahead, Original.
I call them catacombs. The catacombs, you know what I'm saying?
DJ. Yeah, Newstoter. Someone posted something, and I believe it to be true because of some of the things that are on there that I know, like Aleke Kote, I think that's his name. But it was like 21 billionaires in Africa. But guess what? Only 5 of them are black. Okay. And then you're like, wait a minute, how is it that they come here, they claim that they're so smart, they're this, they got their culture, and then if you do some research, like how they try to tell us that we don't know who we are, we don't know what our last names are. Well, they didn't get their last names until colonialism. The truth be told. So when they try to sit up here and they want to dog us out. Oh, and check this out too. Remember when Donald Trump told them that they came from a shithole country? Nigerians still came to the White House and didn't say anything. You see, now when you look at it, like Jim Crow Joe just gave Africa $55 billion, right? Now, unless I missed it, I don't recall hearing any African country saying that they would share some of that $55 billion with Black America. Now, Black folks that came into some money like that.
Don't forget that they're trying to change the money and not use our money either.
Thank you.
A lot don't have birth certificates.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because there was an article that came out that said 500 million Africans don't have birth certificates. And so when they come over here, they say that a lot of them, when if they become citizens, a lot of them, their birthdays are January the 1st.
I'm going to tell you that's true because I work for the government and doing food stamps, and every one of them, January 1st is their date of birth, even their children.
Thank you for that. And see, that's what I'm saying. See, how can you see? Oh, let me say this before I forget. Now they claim that we have not fought in the wars. Well, truth be told, when you hear about the Gullah Wars and those Seminole Wars, those were Black folks that these white folks were fighting. Because see, it was what's his name, Andrew Jackson. He sent a general down to Florida to so-called fight the Indians, but we are the original Indians too. And when the general wrote him a letter back saying, "You told me I was going down there to fight Indians." Said, "All I see are niggers down here." See, Black folks have always put that work in and made things happen. So when these people sit up here and see, they get upset, they get mad when we start talking about them. Because there was an article that came out that said Nigerian women are the most unfaithful women in the world. It don't get any worse than that, okay? Because they would try to talk about us having our baby mamas. And I tell them, hey, We love our baby mamas and the babies too.
They killing their babies. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they throw the babies out. The babies end up in an orphanage, and the mother just go on about her business. But hell, we love our baby. We love the baby mamas and the baby. Somebody will raise that baby. So before you try to talk about us and throw shade our way, you need to look at what you were doing, because how many people would allow a white boy to tell them that they live in a shithole country and still come and see the white boy and see what he wants? That's below a damn shame.
How do you go crazy over these white people when they come to these villages? That should be oh my, disturbing. You will never see a white person come in the hood. You won't see a whole bunch of black people going crazy, right, about to lose their shit over this white person.
Oh no, we look at him like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, that shit be oh my God.
But I'm on that with that Newstoter.
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, and like I say, I'm not even trying to turn this into some kind of roasting session or whatever, talking about this or that or whatever. Because my thing is, like I say, I'm giving props to the ones that's actually sitting out there fighting. I want the actual Pan-Africans that's always talk about unity and togetherness and everything else to actually talk about how they plan on helping or what they're going to do and this and that or whatever. So that's my whole thing. We always have the Pan-Africans always saying we need to come together as a people. We need to do this. We need to do that. But, here's a time that they can go over there and do this. Why aren't they over there trying to actually, bring unison and trying to actually help fellow black people like they always say that we need to do it. We're going to come together and we're going to topple racism and white supremacy. Why aren't they trying to do that? Smiley, I think it is. I could barely see your name. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
They never address the continent. I always ask, even last night, why don't they ever address the continent? What goes on about the tribalism and ethnic cleansing? But they want to come over here talking about Black Americans, foundation of Black Americans are being xenophobic and all that. When these people that come here, they separate themselves. They've been doing that for the longest. They are known for being tribal. They are notorious for being tribalist towards each other. But we being divisive now because we let it be clear that we different. We're a distinct ethnicity. Get the F out of here.
Appreciate.
I've never looked in the African and see myself in that. I'm not trying to be racist or whatever, like they like to say. No, I'm just being honest. We don't have nothing in common with
bigoted is the correct word. We can't be racist. We don't have the means to be. And there ain't nothing wrong with racism. I mean, being racist, because racist means to stick up for your own kind. There you go. Black folks ain't racist enough. Let's go.
Yep.
I see we got a new speaker up here. Draco Go Crazy. You want to say something?
Yeah, I put something in the jumbotron, at least to the group. I'll read the caption. Pan-Africanism is white supremacy with extra steps. Simply for motherfuckers who hate. Yeah, simply for motherfuckers who hate and envy us and want us genocided so they can worship the defeat of the small team in the homeland we built. So Pan-Africans, they're no different than white saviors. They have a black savior complex when it comes to African people. They look at them like they're their ancestors, and they practice paternalism when it comes to them. So you can have a African person on here saying death to Black Americans and calling us cicadas, all type of shit, and they act like it doesn't happen. They'll just like put a blank face. But if we call them African booty scratcher or musty giraffe meat eating bitch, then they all brother HBO, human body odor. Yeah. So when you get on their ass,
Did you say a giraffe eating what?
musty giraffe.
Dicks over there, sister, they eat dick. D-I-K-S. This big ass rat. They call them dicks for shit, though.
Can we say, my bad, I don't mean to cut you off, Drake, but can we acknowledge the jealousy these people have for us, even the Pan-Africans that might even be Black American too?
Well, if you were culturally, if you were physically ugly and you were stupid and you were broke as shit and you contributed nothing to the modern world and you're sitting in a puddle of shit water and you eat cow cow feces.
Indians, though. Let's go to Baba Ramaswamy.
Nigerians on that shit too. They number one and number two. I land my plane here.
Indian River, the Indian River.
The Ganges. Yeah, that's disgusting, man. And that's a holy river to them. A septic tank. So those are sewer.
And they worship rats too, yo. Indians over here, they love letting the rats run wild. You know what I'm saying? I'll be feeding them peanut butter balls, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, with the rat poison in them. I know what you're talking about. That's crazy. They worship rats and the Asians, and then they chop them motherfuckers up. Not all, but you know.
You saw a video of the two brothers that caught the Asians bringing the pigeons into the back in the thing.
They got away from that Chinese food.
Y'all seen this shit? Oh my god. That nigga cut his arm off in his hand. Heavens. Oh.
Are you talking about the Nigerian dude? That, I don't know if he was Nigerian, but he had his hand in his other hand.
It's a jungle.
He said they jumped him, though, cut his hand off, though. He was on his way to the farm. He was just a regular worker, yo.
Hey, real quick, let me give a shout out to Carolyn. Carolyn, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Go ahead. Matter of fact, y'all, go ahead and start raising your hands because I'm not even sure who's talking, who's saying what as well, too. So, and this dude's still over here trolling over here. This how you know this joker got no life right here. We're talking about blacks are good. First off, let me go back to what he said. He said, why do you care about Africa? Your community is poor and dirty. Do something about it. First, let me drop a little bit of facts right here. Okay. Black people in America have the highest income of any black people on earth. They enjoy the highest quality of life any black people on earth. They're the most educated any black people on earth. And don't sit over here talking about the 2-3% that come over here from these other nations and comparing that to 40-50 million people. Because if we play that, we can take the black people, we can take in America and compare to any nation in Africa, and they would still outdo you in terms of income, in terms of healthcare, in terms of quality, in terms of education, in terms of all that. So let's not sit up here and talk about how poor black people in America are. And if we're poor, then good Lord, then what are you? Okay, let's be honest here. Black people make more money than the average African. You got some Africans in some of these countries making damn.
Kings and queens. You remember that they're kings and queens over there. You know that.
You got some Africans in this country making $2-3 a damn week. Okay, still live in the ghetto where white people put you. And where do you live at? Because a lot of those places you live at don't have any running water, don't have any kind of sanitation. Let's be for real here. The ghetto is still better than some of the best neighborhoods and some of the best places you got to live at. And I don't even mean to come over here and insult. And I'm not even, and this is not a shot at my African brothers and sisters over there, because I do have respect for them. I know a lot of people, you know, there's a back and forth or whatever, but I'm talking to a magpie like you. Let's not sit over here. And if life was that great over there, you would not be leaving and going to other nations around the world. You would sit there. Here's the thing. People don't leave paradise to go someplace else. Okay, let's just cut the crap. If you living in paradise and the place you live in is all great and this and that, you don't leave where you at. Nobody leaves heaven to go to earth. Straight up. If you where you stand at, if it's top of the line, you don't leave and you don't leave there and go someplace else there too. So you have no respect. We have no respect. Well, we're more respected than you are. Okay, whatever country you come from, I guarantee you, the face of blackness in this world is Black American. Okay, when they think about success, anything, it being in a black face, I guarantee it's going to be a Black American before any other ethnic group in the world that's black. So let's stop the crap. And not only that, but your dumb ass is sitting over here in the Newstoter space. And you crying about what black people can't do and this and that or whatever, yet you can go ahead and start your own space or start your own broadcast and sit up here and talk about all the wonderful accomplishments that you've got. But since you have no life, since you have nothing to talk about, you're over here trying to troll. So go ahead and keep trolling, and we'll continue to ride on you in this space, right? And like I say, and I'm letting everybody in the space know I have nothing. I know we have these diaspora wars. I have nothing personally against any African that's out there trying to get it. Much respect to those people over there in Mali and Niger for standing up and showing that they got a pair. That they not like these other ass kissers that's been sitting over there allowing people to colonize them and run them over. Enough is enough. And Ubuntu Johns, you can go over there and you can do the same thing. Since you said you're African, show some pride. Go over there and be African, show that you got some pride. You over there, you're the majority. Go over there and take it to these other colonialized black people over there that's still stepping and fetching for they French masters. But you're not gonna do that because you living good, you eating good, you living better now than you've ever lived in your life, and you sitting over here and you talking noise. So Ubuntu Johns, whenever you want to go back home and fight and do something like those other people doing, being worthwhile. Because right now, let's be for real, your life don't even matter. If you was never born a Ubuntu Johns, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter one bit. If they was erase everything about your life, it wouldn't matter one bit of Ubuntu Johns. So go ahead and do something positive. Do something to make your people proud. Because right now, you're sitting up and making an ass out of yourself saying dumb stuff.
I always say that shit, nigga. Come to the bricks and say that, nigga.
Africans are pussy in real life. Like they don't do well. Let me.
Not all Africans, bro. Not all Africans, because you got some over there right now that's thumping with these people right now, holding their own.
I'm talking about the tellers in America. Y'all don't talk like this to my face. When I went to school, I had Nigerians in my class, and they had nothing but respect for me. You know what I'm saying? So like, they don't even do none of this shit. Y'all weirdos get on Twitter and talk to Somalians. They do not play with me in real life. The motherfuckers look at the ground when they see. They so fucking scary and frail. So I don't know where all this energy come from. Y'all tellers are some hoes in real life. Y'all don't got no hands. Y'all not about no street shit. Get build your own country. And stand up in your own country. Brand to that. And the worst type of bitch ass teller is imagine a country comes and colonizes your people, rapes and enslaves them, and strips you of your identity. Britain. And then you leave your homeland and flee to them, to your colonizer. That's the ultimate bitch thing to me. That's the ultimate count.
Biggest phone.
And we got Ubuntu say blacks are tough against Africans, not whites. Blacks ain't never declared war on Africans. So let's stop the stuff right there, Ubuntu. And I guarantee you, Ubuntu, whatever, Ubuntu Johns, I'm gonna call your whole name, Ubuntu Johns, whatever country that you live in, I guarantee that you got a white Jesus up there somewhere. Now go home and kiss his feet, Ubuntu Johns.
I never understand why they compare a couple thousand of quote unquote successful Africans that's making a good amount of money in America to millions of us that's not. Like, we outnumber them in America 40 to 50 to 1. Like for each black immigrant, that's like 50 black Americans. Like, how you gonna compare? Okay, keep the same image. Let's compare us, our entire community in America, to your homeland. Let's see how that goes.
No, they're not going to do that, because in that's what they be considering a whitewash. They're not going to do that. That's why. And not only that, let's be for real. White folks put them up to say that stuff as well too. Now we got somebody saying this, and Ubuntu saying white people been riding on black people for centuries. But what are they doing to you? I mean, since what, the late 1800s when they fully went ahead and put y'all under colonial rule. What have they been doing for you guys? Like I say, you don't control any gold, any silver, any uranium. You don't cobalt. You don't nothing over there you control. The oil, nothing. The oceans, nothing. Either the Muslims control it, the Arabs control it, or the actual whites control it, or now the Chinese control it. So I mean, and you talk about our communities. And Ubuntu, what country? And Ubuntu, where do you live at? Where you live at in Ubuntu, Johns? Are you over there in Africa right now? Because I can tell you saying that if blacks are so rich, why our community is trashy. Tell me where you live at. Where you live at in Ubuntu? Because I can guarantee you my neighborhood better than yours. So tell me in Ubuntu. No, I want him to put in the comment section where he live at. Where you live at in Ubuntu? Go ahead and put where you live at, because I guarantee you're not living in Africa. Name your country that you're living in right now, Ubuntu. I want to hear it. Yeah, the UK or over here. It's either the UK or over here. I want to see the lie he's gonna come up with.
They fleeing up north too, son. I
was talking about these African dudes, but these
they going back to so they will be over there with the chiefs.
I'm gonna wait for Ubuntu. I'm gonna wait for Ubuntu to put where he's at. Go ahead, y'all. I'm gonna wait. When he puts where he's at, I'm gonna put it in there.
Yeah, hey, real quick. Hey, y'all. Hey, anybody anybody seen my son? He missing, yo.
We got Professor.
Nah, not Professor. That's my big bro and shit. But my son been missing on Twitter for a while. Now I don't know where he at.
Oh, he say he in Milwaukee, y'all. He say he in Milwaukee. And you didn't even spell Milwaukee. And he didn't even spell Milwaukee right. And he didn't even spell Milwaukee right. So man, if you don't shut the hell up, you sitting over here in a nation.
I'm an hour and a half away from you, bro. You better be smooth.
What? You sitting over here in Milwaukee of all places. Well, I thought you were such a proud African. Why you ain't back home? I mean, you over here in this ghetto land over here and whatnot. So why you not back home in Butte? Yeah, what you say, FBA?
I'm about to go jump on your YouTube channel.
Talking to me.
Yeah, go jump on it. No, FBA got it. Yeah, he's on YouTube. He on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'll see you over there. I'm going.
That's everybody telling you can't even spell. How you spell Milwaukee?
Real quick, everybody go over to YouTube and go pop some shit. African in the comment section. But yeah, anybody seen my son Shepherd Wolf, yo?
Oh, Shepherd. Hey, y'all, Shepherd band.
I'm sorry, son. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shepherd. What Shepherd blocked both of us because the other night he was crying because we wouldn't let him and told him to go ahead with the thing we had with the Judge Joe Brown, and he kept talking about Marcel, so he got butthurt and he decided to block us.
Shout out to the judge, Judge Joe Brown 2023.com, Judge Joe Brown 2023.com, or JJB2023.com. Get that barbecue sauce too, JJBBarbecue.com. Let's go, everybody. For your spicy ass ribs, go help support the campaign. Let's go. We need to make sure Judge get elected.
Go ahead, Draco. Hey, I really do. I really wanted some Pan-Africans to come up in the space tonight, though, and explain to me exactly how they can go about helping over there and unity and everything else like that. So I was disappointed that we didn't get any Pan-Africans to come up in here and just discuss exactly what's up. So I'm really disappointed on that. But go ahead, Draco.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about these zebra testicle eating motherfuckers real quick. So they always talking about this household income shit. Let's wake that up. You whole ass motherfuckers be in a 1-bedroom basement unit, 14 deep, with a bunch of moldy sandals on, doing Uber or some shit like that, combining y'all income to make it $100,000 a year. We don't live like pack rats. Black people don't live like pack rats. We don't be 27 deep in the crib. You know what I'm saying? Right. So get you your own crib and then tell me about your household income. You got a whole fucking village in a studio apartment somewhere with no windows in a basement with the water fucking flooding every time it rains. Get y'all ugly ass out here.
Hey, all facts. Hey, bro, a couple weeks ago, I'm over here in Irvington, New Jersey, where I'm fucking from. Shout out to the Brick City, but it's all North at the end of the day. Homie and shit, I'm going to the little poppy store where I've been going for like 30 years and shit, you know what I'm saying? Yo, come fuck with me over there on my website, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, we hear a bunch of noise outside. Yo, I'm about to kill these motherfuckers, The mommy in the store knew the dude and shit. He was a black dude. I don't know where he's from and shit, but he was like, yo, I'm about to fuck these motherfuckers up. They don't get out of my spot and shit, yada, yada, yada. There was a bunch of foreigners inside of this, you know how they got storefronts at the bottom of the apartments up top, most buildings and shit.
Storefront, yeah, with the 2 flat or the 3, three level.
There you go. So, yo, I done told y'all, get the fuck up out of here. Y'all can't be living up here. It was like 10 people inside of an office type space, yo. Well, it's not even an apartment. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all supposed to be renting this for a business. It's supposed to, every time I walk by, it's supposed to be a, not taxes, but like send faxes, notary public, shit like that. You got the whole family up in this motherfucker. So the person giving the black dude the most smoke was one of the women and shit. But the men had their head down. They weren't saying nothing to him. And she all like, well, they allowed to be here, all this other shit. No, the fuck they not. You have at least to run a business here, not to live here. You know what I'm saying? So we tried to calm dude down. He wasn't trying to hear. He said, fuck that, man. He was iced up too. You know what I'm saying? Yo, mommy, hold my jewelry, call my wife. You know who she is and shit. He took off his chains, took his rings off, everything, his watch, the whole shit. He was iced up. You know what I'm saying? Gave it to the mommy. His mommy ran in, back in the store, hopped on the phone. I don't know who she called. I don't think she called the police because the police already came. So they wound up coming back. So I guess mommy did call the police again. But by the time they came back, he done chipped one of these little dudes, yo. Had him on the ground. I mean, like, he was belly flopping and shit. So I didn't see that part. I should have stood outside. I ran back in the store because I was trying to talk to Bobby about doing business and shit, yo. But damn, we went back outside. Two hands, yeah, he amped up now because he done knuckled one of them niggas up.
When they can't fight for, they straight pussy. They in a office space sleeping on crates. When they wake up, they back look like Eggo waffles in the morning and shit. They ready to get their bum ass the fuck on somewhere.
I wound up hopping back in my car because I had to walk the opposite way up the hill and shit to get back in my truck and shit. I got back in the truck. I said, fuck it, let me just roll past there. So I saw the dude. He was still, he was bloody, bro. He wound up sitting himself up, but he was like, as far as like, he's just sitting up now, but his butt on the ground and shit. Yeah, old boy knuckled him up real good, dog. He hit him with the 2-piece and the biscuit, son, for sure. Know what I mean? And I think he gave him that extra sauce. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Newstoter and shit. You know what I mean? Motherfucking NBA stories, nigga. Let's go. We about to start the Chronicles. Let's go, Draco. You know what I'm saying? Me, you, and Smiley and shit, yo.
Hell no, man. Y'all funny.
Hey, ain't those jokes, nigga. They can't fuck with us. We the kings and queens of that shit, nigga. Say something, we'll throw your ass up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Then when they get roasted, they start using white supremacy talk.
You being prejudiced against me and all this other shit.
They be getting that shit off Google, folks. They don't got no bars. They be getting that shit off Google. I'm telling you, they just type in black people ghetto.
I told you, black, Bobby. I'm no black. I'm Dominican. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, you Dominican now. I thought race black. Like they go, nigga, shit, dog.
You saying racist seem like darker than me, like way darker than me.
All scared folk ain't kinfolk.
Hey, so
Hey, did y'all let Stephanie get something? And I just came back because I know.
We sorry, sister. Don't be letting this man run you over here, sister. Call me if you got problems. Don't say that.
You is
Who the fuck back the fuck up. Who the fuck back? New York niggas. No,
you know what? I came up here because I wanted to know if you can give me a brief recap of what happened between you and Shepherd Wolf because I didn't understand it. I missed that.
Oh no, I'm just trolling Shepherd. Brooklyn in the building and shit, all that. Shout out to my Brooklyn niggas, but Shepherd made y'all look soft, Brooklyn. I guess North niggas run the yard and shit in the East Coast, nigga. Let's go. Hey, Tyler, you want to run it down? You want me to run it down again? No?
That's on Shepherd.
Yeah, Shepherd, that's my dog and shit, you know what I mean? But hey, you can't be disparaging somebody that's not in the room. We talking about somebody that had an article written on them. You got a personal gripe against this person. I ain't even gonna mention their name, even though we all know who this other man is. Because we all vouched for him and donated to him, so I don't even gotta mention. He's running for office, so I ain't gotta make all that shit up. But don't talk about him. He ain't in this room like he's some third party, bro. Stop. You know what I'm saying? So if you got all this evidence against the man, won't you go verse him instead of fleeing like a tether out of every space? When he tell you, yo, I'm over here. Let me know where you at in New York. Homie said that. Let me know where you at in New York. I will come up there from the South, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And see you wherever the fuck you at. You know what I'm saying? And we can have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? But hey, it was what it was and shit. So it ain't like we ain't trying to let you talk, Shepherd. It's just that you can't be disparaging somebody when we all know this person, we all mutual friends, family with this person. You know what I'm saying? So that goes for anybody here. Don't be talking about, Stephanie, don't be talking about Newstoter, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When he ain't here because saying his bar's whack, he ain't gonna come to the liquor store. Oh, my bad, Governor said that. My bad.
That's just like, not to cut you off, that's just like I was reading a post, right? And this guy from Harlem, he was Ghanaian, I think. And he had the audacity to say, I will have FBA, I'll have Black Americans turning against their own just for a Ghanaian. And I had to retweet that because I'm like, oh, no, you're not. You're not going to have us turning against each other just because you're tribal and you have a beef with somebody that just happens to be Black American. You're not going to do that here because I'm putting the word out, and I sure did put the word out. I made everybody watch that post because what you're not going to do is turn us against each other for you. In the meantime, you're stabbing us in the back. Not going to happen. Sorry and not sorry.
Tell the gang. We ain't saying.
So we didn't have not one person of Pan Africanism come up in the space tonight to talk about the actual title and the conflict going on in there. That's really disheartening. I thought they were going to come up in here and actually discuss and talk about what they were trying to do to make things better over there in the continent, because I know they said that we're all Africans. So I thought that they had some ideas and some solutions on how they can go ahead and actually solve that, but none of them actually came up in the space tonight. So I'm a little bit disappointed about that.
We're all African, because when motherfuckers migrated out of Africa into Europe, the Europeans migrated back into Africa. So why they not telling Europeans they African? Why they only telling us that? Why they applying for green cards and using putting down black to get HBCUs? Why they don't tell Europeans that they're white?
We're the top tier group of people ever all time. They want to tether on to everything. They want to be us, but they don't want to say it. And I think to go to an HBCU, it needs to be lineage based, not just anybody to go.
Within the course of a month on this app, you see probably 30, 40 spaces and stuff titled Pan-African this, Pan-African that, Pan-African this, Pan-African that. Like I say, I wanted to kind of get a pulse on the actual what's going on in the actual Pan-African movement and how they were going to come about actually helping. Like I say, right now in Western Africa, you have a conflict going on between numerous nations, and it's a Pan-African fight. You got 4 on this side against 4 on that side. And one side is backed by Western imperialist countries and stuff like that. The same ones that colonized, the same ones that enslaved. So I wanted to hear the actual response from Pan-Africans. Exactly why would you have a nation? Why would you have 3, 4 nations sit on the side of actual people that actually came over there and colonized them? Why would they actually take sides with these people? And what as a Pan-African in America are you trying to do to go ahead and to fight against that? Because I know they were saying that you have to have this solidarity worldwide, but you're not seeing the solidarity right there in Africa. And like I said, and think about it. You're talking about the very same place that a big part of the transatlantic slave trade happened a few hundred years ago. And you're still having these people sit up here and you're having fights and you're having one side being bankrolled by the same people that came over there to enslave people, to go ahead and colonize people and everything else. So why aren't the Pan-Africans speaking about this? Why aren't the Pan-Africans giving solutions and letting everybody know exactly what's up, how you can do this or whatever? So that, I'm just a little baffled by that, really, to be honest, to be real about it. I'm just trying to figure out what's up. Why nobody stood up? Nobody said, hey, yo, we doing this, we doing that, or we going to try to do this, we going to try to do that, or we standing and supporting them or whatever. So, I don't know. I mean, this is crazy.
Newstoter, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, DJ, go ahead.
No, so you got it.
Newstoter, I just wanted to say the reason why they're not going to come in this room is because I'm sure a couple of them are already in here. So what they're going to do is create a space and talk about how divisive you and the rest of us are being. So this is their strategy.
Well, no, I'm not being divisive because I'm asking a serious question. How can you actually come on? I want to know exactly, because we talk about solutions and everything else as well too. How can we actually get you to actually tell us exactly what needs to be done? Right now you're having almost it's not a civil war because you got a bunch of nations involved as well too. So exactly how is this going to come? How is this going to help Black people? What can Black people do? How is this going to bring Black people together? What's the solution? What's this? What's that? I'm not hearing that though. I'm not hearing that at all. So to me, that's, and listen, if Pan-African works for somebody, more power to them. If it works for them, more power to them. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what gets you by, hey, that's what gets you by. But at the same time, if it can't work in Africa and it's not working in Africa, I don't really see where it's bridging gaps together. How is it going to work worldwide? How is it going to work here in America? How's it going to work in the Caribbean? How are you going to bring people together that really, outside of their skin color, they don't have a whole lot in common with each other. So how is that really? How are you going to bring people together if people that's historically live next to each other and everything else, and they actually have a a story that's similar because they were colonized. And instead of them actually coming together, they actually saying, you know what, we're going to actually go ahead and we're going to fight. We're going to actually fight on the side of the actual oppressors that came over here and colonized us. I'm just trying to figure out how that's supposed to work.
Hey, Ubuntu, come over here to Twitter, yo, and say your piece, bro, man.
And Butu ain't finna come over here. Butu sitting over there. He's over here. He's enjoying living in America. And Butu talking all this and that or whatever. But then Butu ain't thinking about Africa. And Butu is enjoying being in America. And Butu ain't trying to go back home. And Butu claim he got a black wife or African wife. Yeah, I have to see that to believe that. And Butu ain't trying to. He talk about he send money back home or whatever. And Butu glad that he got away. And he'll never go back, no matter what. And Butu gonna stay here till he die. He's happy to be in America. Ain't that right, in Butu? Professor, what's up? You had dropped out for a second. You there, Professor? I don't know.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm here, family. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. I had got a call. That's why I dropped out. I just want to say, with this whole Pan-African thing, it'll never work. Okay? That's my opinion. Now, everybody has their own opinion about this, but it will never work. And I'm sorry. I used to, like you told her, I used to be down with this whole Pan-African bullshit. It's a lie. It's a joke. We didn't know any better back in the day. But as we get older, as we learn, we do better, right? So if you talk to me, if you come to me right now and say, well, hey, let's go for a pan pizza, I'm with you all day. Because a pan pizza will never change. A pan pizza will always be good. But Pan-Africanism, bad. Can't fuck with. But pan pizza, I digress. That's my thing. Okay? So if we talking about that, then yeah, I smile. But this whole Pan-African shit, they can kiss my ass. I land right there.
How do you feel about pan-terrorism? Because that's what they're practicing. They fleeing over here and getting defended by so-called Black Americans over here, while they just using Pan-Africanism as a immigration scheme. So I call it pan-terrorism.
Hey, that sounds even better, because that's exactly what that shit is. And I'm just saying, family, I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do. Now, for all you ones that want to be down with this Pan-African bullshit, go right ahead. I'm not for it. I used to be for it back when I was younger. Because, you know, I was all into the, like, for instance, I know, Total, you remember that group. What was that group that was with Tribe Called Quest? There was another group. They all used to hang together. The Jungle Brothers, I think was the name of the group.
That was that the Jungle Brothers? DJ, which group was that?
Talking about the new school.
Well, it was Leaders of the New School. It was Tribe Called Quest, and I think it was the Jungle Brothers and Money Love. They all used to rap together, but they all was on that Pan-African bullshit. That's where I got it from, y'all. I got it from that shit. Because I used to love to listen to that bullshit they talked about going back to Africa. You know, remember back in the day, everybody used to wear that little, what was that thing called? A little Africa. It was a continent Africa neck thing. Yeah, everybody used to wear it. Well, you know, Jungle Brothers and a Tribe Called Quest, all of them wore that shit. Do y'all not remember that? All of them did. That's where a lot of people got this from. I got it from them. When I was sitting there watching the videos, I used to love listening to all of them. You know, they all talk about this Pan-African. I'm telling you, we were all stupid back in the day. Okay? We all were stupid. Now that we older and we see that this was bullshit, I can't go back to that shit. Now, like I said, you talk to me about pan pizza, I never start loving pan pizza. That's bad. I can go with that all day. But this bullshit, the Pan-African shit, never. Never again.
I'm gonna land right there.
I think everybody, and I'm not gonna say everybody, but I think a lot of us at one point in time, I think we all had, visions and hopes that you could have a federation of black people worldwide that could come together to fight against it, racism and white supremacy. But as you get older, you just see that, hey, that's not really going to happen, because it's never happened in history. You've never had, even in Africa, even when people talk about the golden age of Africa, you talk about the empires and the kingdoms, whether you're talking about what happened in Kemet, or you're talking about Central Africa or South Africa or West Africa, you've never had black people all on one code. I don't care where you at. You've never had any group of people, be it black or white. The Europeans, they never were all together. You've never had the Asians all together. You've never had any group of race of people that came together simply because they looked the same. Never. So you thought that, hey, we all were enslaved. We were either colonized or enslaved. We can all get together and we can find some kind of common ground or whatever. But that's just fairy tales. That's not real life. It's never happened, and it never will. You can't get the black people all in the Caribbean to get together, and they're on their own islands that's close by. You would think they'd be able to create their own trading posts and everything else, and that's never happened. So you can't just. I just think it's just far-fetched that it's never going to happen. I think first and foremost, you need to go ahead and try to worry about where you're at, try to solidify that. And then once you can solidify that, then maybe you can set up you can have some kind of trade agreements with different black people throughout the world. But the whole Pan-African thing is it's nice in theory. It's great in theory, but it's never happened. It's never happened. And I don't think it ever will happen as well either. So, I mean, if it hasn't happened by now, I just, I don't know. And this dude up here talking, I agree. Blacks kill blacks every day, kids too, bro. I guess you don't see exactly all of the damn, all of the civil wars that they've had over there in Africa and everything else and stuff. I mean, the Rwanda genocide and everything else too. Like, I guarantee you, there's a higher ratio of black on black murder and crime in Africa than it is here in America. So let's just shut our mouth about that. I mean, it's not even close. The Rwandan genocide alone had more black people killed in that Rwandan genocide, however long that war lasts, than you've had black people killing black people in America for the last 100 years. So let's stop the nonsense here, my friend. Let's just stop it.
Total, let me tell you, bro, that's some of the most stupidest arguments I think I have ever heard in my life, when I keep hearing this black Americans over here killing more black Americans. Well, if you look all across the globe, everybody, yes, you got Africans killing each other, all kinds of African tribes killing each other. But then let's go over to Yugoslavia, or what used to be Yugoslavia. These folks damn near wiped each other off the face of the earth.
Real talk.
Look at the Russians. Let me see who else. The Russians and the Ukrainians. Look what's going on over there. Ain't they supposed to be brothers and sisters over there?
White on white crime.
Yeah, they killing each other like crazy over there, man. And I hope they do. To be honest with you, they can kill each other till the end of time. I don't care. I just know one thing. I don't like my money going over there for that shit. But anyway. All of those folks over there have been killing each other for years over there in Europe, okay? And of course, you have the people in Africa. They killing each other. You have the people over in China, or Asia, in the Asian country. They killing each other. Over here, people kill each other. White people over here killing each other. Black people over here killing each other. Everybody kills each other, okay? So why is it that it's always got to be this little special dynamic about black Americans killing one another?
Well, here's the thing, Professor, from what this dude was.
A white person told him that.
But here's the thing, what this dude was saying. He was talking about, now, of course, he's a behind a profile, so we don't know if he's black or not. But you had supposedly an African up there talking about all blacks do is kill other blacks, So I'm like, look, wherever, like you just said, Asians, you had Chinese and the Japanese fighting for the longest time. You've had Asians at war and everything else. So, you're right. No matter, and it's been proven that people kill and commit crime where they live at. But to have somebody sitting up here, and I'm talking about all the genocides and stuff that go on over there, and then sit over here there's, please, it's nonsense. If you're sitting up here trying to compare what goes on the continent of Africa to, 50 million black people in this country, or whatever, the crime is nowhere comparable, if you want to be honest. But like I said, spoken like somebody who lives in Milwaukee and can't even spell Milwaukee as well, too, sitting over here in air condition, sitting over here in luxury, and yet you're talking about the pride you have in your country, man, and stuff like that, and you don't even want to go back home and try to build it up, man. You sitting over here, the last thing you want to do is to go back home and actually and build something worthwhile. You sitting right over here, and I bet you the type of Negro that sit on the lap of these white dudes as well, too. So I know your speed, boy. I know your speed. I could tell by the way you talk. I've seen Negroes just like you most of my life, so I already know exactly your mindset. Somebody who just came up here. I know somebody just came. I don't know. Somebody dropped. Now, Black Native. I see Black Native is up in the space as well, too. So, Black Native, you up in the speaker spot. Did you want to say something?
Oh no, I apologize. What's up, Newstoter and DJ? I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. I just saw you up in. I know normally you'll raise your hand when you want to speak or whatever, but I figure, hey, we ain't gonna keep the space open too much longer. Like you said, I know a bunch of people. Like I said, I thought a bunch of people might come in here and tell us what's what and what's going on and what can be done and this and that or whatever. Because I definitely, like I say, we hear all about people saying that, hey, we need to go ahead and do this and do that as a people and move this way and move that way or whatever. But like I said, you got a group of people over there that's fighting for liberation against another group of black people that don't want to be liberated, the Nigerians. For whatever reason, the country of Nigeria has decided to go ahead and fight at the behest of France, of all people. So, call that what it is. That's just, to me, that's mind-boggling right there. But nonetheless, like I said, we ain't gonna keep the space open too much longer. Shout out to everybody that did come up in the space tonight as well, too. And the question is, will any Pan-African go to Africa to help Niger in their conflict? And I have not seen one person that came up in tonight say, hey, yeah, if I may not go, but I stand in support of them. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, or whatever. But it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and let whoever wants to speak, because we're gonna get ready to close it out in a second. Anybody wants to speak, go ahead and raise your hand.
Smiley trying to come up.
Who?
Smiley.
I think I kept bringing him up, but he must have dropped down again. Yeah, I brought him up a couple times. Every time we brought him up, he kept kind of like falling down. So I don't know. He may be having some issues with his actual. He must be having some issues with his phone as well, because it's been about 4 or 5 times I brought him up, and I'm talking about just recently, and he kept dropping back down as well.
Smiley, update your Twitter, y'all. Twitter did update, y'all. Twitter updated. There you go. You can restart your phone.
Also, for those in the space, make sure that in the Jumbotron, we have the YouTube channel. Make sure you click on that YouTube channel. Go to the YouTube channel and go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
My fault. My stuff is like going in and out real bad.
Yeah, for those in the space, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is up in the Jumbotron family. For those that want to support on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter. For those that don't have Cash App, we got the Venmo, PayPal up in the Jumbotron. And apparently we made Mbutu pretty pissed off tonight. Mbutu was very upset tonight with this space for the simple fact that all we asked, simple question, all I asked, and wasn't being didn't insult him or anything, simply asked, hey, will any Pan-African go to Africa to help Niger in their conflict? And apparently Mbutu felt that, hey, that's none of your business, even though the article that's over there in the description in the actual YouTube lets you know that, hey, you got people asking for Black Americans towards the end of that article. Read the article, Mbutu, because I know you may have problems. I know you had problems with Milwaukee, but in the actual article, it states about Black Americans using their voice that they've done for decades to go ahead and champion change over there. So I don't know, Mbutu. I know you got butthurt that we mentioned that, but go look at the actual article, Mbutu. The actual author's name is in there, Mbutu. And not only that, it's a Q&A as well in there, Mbutu. So go ahead, and reading is fundamental. Okay, reading is fundamental. I know we got a lot of lazy people now that don't want to read. That if it ain't on the video, they're like, oh, I don't want to read that. I don't want to read that. So, and Boo don't be a dumbass. Go read the article. You keep asking. The article is in the description, dumb. Go read the article. Go on YouTube. Let me dummy it down and break it down. Let me talk real slow for you. And Boo over on YouTube in the description is the actual link to the article about the discussion tonight in Boo. Click that link and it will take you to Newstoter.com, the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today. In that article in Boo, you can go ahead and read it. Then, as you get towards the end of that article in Boo, you will click read more. Then it will take you to the parent website in Boo, and you can read the complete article. I know that's a lot of work, but it's possible. So there you go in Boo. I hope I was able to dummy it down a little bit for you. I hope I spoke slow enough where you could understand. I don't think there's an issue, but in Boo, that's all you got to do. It's if you read that article, your brain's not going to explode in Boo. I promise you. You'll still have the 2 or 3 brain cells in your noggin that you had before. Okay, so go ahead and Boo and go to the actual site and read the actual article. Okay, that's all you got to do.
Hey, you remember the Dave Chappelle skit, Clayton Bishop?
Hold on real quick. No, in Boo, I don't steal articles. It's called a curation. That's one of my curation partners, dumbass. They're called San Francisco Bayview, dumbass. They're located in the San Francisco, United States of America, and they have been a curation partner with Newstoter since 2017. So go kick rocks.
Hey, this space is being recorded.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Who just said that?
Me, Smiley.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's recorded, Smiley. You cool with that? You all right?
Yeah. I want to go back and listen to the parts I wasn't in.
Okay, yeah. But I don't know. In Boo, he kind of scares me. He's kind of, I don't know. He's kind of dumbass here. He like trying to explain something to this dumbass. I don't know exactly what part he didn't understand what I was saying, but yeah, dumbass. It's called curation, shithead. That's what it's called. Yeah, it's a new. I don't know if where you from, if you've heard of that term before, but you've been educated tonight. Okay. All right. You can thank me later.
Maybe you don't speak no English, son. You know what I mean?
I don't know what this dude talking about. It's like it definitely like the old time.
They love to say that though. No, they love to say that. Oh, me don't understand. You just said you don't understand me. That's English.
Apparently he doesn't. He's a special, and Boo he's a special kind of slow. I can see that now. He's a special kind of slow, but it's all right in Boo. You came to troll. You came to be dumb. You're sitting over here in America and you're talking about Black Americans. Yet I guarantee you, any man you came face to face in this space, you wouldn't. The half of the stuff you were saying in here tonight, you'd be quiet as kept. You wouldn't be uttering a word of it. So you sit like a lot of people on these online and stuff behind these profiles with your dumb ass, and you know you wouldn't say any of this stuff face to face in Boo. So go do what you do, my friend. Go whatever you had to do it, because you definitely bore us tonight. On that note, guys, I guess we'll go ahead. We had us a good space. Let's thank all the co-hosts, and let's thank Mbutu as well too for being the mascot tonight. And Mbutu, thank you. We appreciate you for coming. Make sure you come to more spaces and broadcasts as well, Mbutu. It was a joy having you here. You showed what an idiot you truly are, and we enjoyed having you. I mean, rarely do we get such dumbasses in the space like this, but tonight you showed up and you kind of made everything worth having tonight in Mbutu. So thank you so much for coming. And as the old folks used to say back in the day here in the South, showing your color. Thank you, Mbutu. Thank you for being a dumbass.
Hey, ain't that Mr. Booty's brother? Y'all remember that chick named Mr. Booty?
I don't think it's her brother.
Yeah. Oh, damn, my bad. Shit, I thought that's her brother.
I don't think.
Say the name now.
Well, that's his profile, Mbutu Johns at that. His name is Mbutu.
Not with so many names same names when you listen to it.
The Joker name is Mbutu Johns at that. Like,
They only got but so many songs.
right, the Joker name Mbutu John. So he gave himself like, he put Johns as his last name. So
hey, look, and you remember that article that came out like 2 months ago? They said they don't even know who their great grandmother is. Damn, that's fucked up, bro. But hey, man, we could have been together if you ain't sold us, son. Well, we good now. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest.
Put us in, take us back.
Word up, man. We don't want to come back home, no. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
They got to live in our shadows.
Yeah, what happened to the real advocates that you come over here and fuck with us and shit? You know what I mean? No, Romelo Smiley. We can't do business with you, brother.
He was like, he like,
bro? Why not, Smiley? You know what I'm saying? Hey, yo,
cutter. How you can say cut it?
What's this, Smiley? Smiley, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's no disrespect, Romelo Smiley. You know what I mean? But we just can't fuck with you or Cotters. What the fuck was that, bro? Wild dog? Oh, shit.
No, he say cotton picker. He like a cutter, Black American cotton picker. Soon as he said that, Wesley jawed his ass too. Bam.
Wesley hit that nigga with the blade, yo.
I don't want anybody.
All right, hey, but this is how he said it. How he said, you do your but how he said it, DJ. You do your thing, I do my thing. Okay, no offense. You do your thing, I do my thing.
Hold on, let me play that, yo, please.
Hey.
Oh shit, hold on, shit. I got that right here, yo. Hold on. Right there. I got you right here. Hold on. Oh shit, all right, listen. Hey, Drake, I'm trying to bring you up. I don't know what's up with your phone, though.
Hey, I was on your live roasting that nigga in the chat and shit.
Oh, true. Hey, check it out right here, though.
Hey, can y'all hear that? Because I can't really hear it.
I can't hear it yet. It's not on yet.
Oh, matter of fact, let me play it on the stereo. Hold on a second, yo. Never mind. Computer shut down on me. It is what it is. Next space.
But on that note, guys, we'll go ahead and call it.
Hackers got to you, bro.
Word, they got me, son. You know what I'm saying?
The Yahoo boys.
Word up. They hit me with the click. You know what I'm saying?
They trying to find you to do a money ritual.
Shout out to
my reparations, so you ain't getting shit from me right now.
Shout out to everybody.
Sandwiches, I'm eating this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. If you're hungry, nigga, no.
Real quick. Shout out to everybody who came in the space tonight. Appreciate it, guys. Make sure y'all retweet this space out so people can listen to it. If you missed it, check the recording out or check it from the beginning on YouTube as well. If you're in the space and you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We definitely need more subscribers. We're going to call it a night for the night. Catch us back on Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody be safe and have a good night.
Come over to the next space, yo. All night long, till the night.